Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up?
Oh, you know.
What's going on? Welcome back.
Ready to sports.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
It was rough.
Yeah?
It was a rough weekend.
Why? What was rough about it?
The crab feed goes hard.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can divulge of what goes on at the crab feed, but I can assure you the crab feed goes hard.
Well, we didn't know you were at a crab feed. There was a lot of controversy on Friday.
That's what I heard.
Because you said you were going to the coast.
I thought I was going to the coast.
And there was talk of crab.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense.
Yeah, coast.
So then Danny tells me they're actually going to Eastern Oregon before the show on Friday. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, they don't have, what?
Yeah.
There's no crab in Eastern Oregon.
Yes.
Unless I'm crazy.
No, there's no crab in Eastern Oregon.
So we believed you.
Yes.
And not Danny.
Well, I believed me.
So we
left.
So we thought you were at the coast.
We left. And by the way,
with a bunch of high T football guys, right?
Yeah, like. Did
you guys do the Omaha drill?
No, American hero Nick Reed was there.
Yeah,
All Pro center.
Why is he an American hero?
Well, that dude played. He's the second career leader in sacks in Pac-12 history. Played in the NFL.
He was an absolute beast at Oregon
and
for
now,
being an undersized guy too.
And now flies the B-2 bomber.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I think he coordinated the flyover for the Rose Bowl.
Yes, he did. And he flew over. He was actually the pilot. I went to the BYU Oregon game last year, and he flew. He did the flyover the Autzen Stadium. So, think about if you were a kid and you were growing up, and you thought about every dumb kid fantasy you could have. It's I'm gonna be small and I'm gonna go earn my way onto my home, onto a championship college football team, and then I'm gonna make my way into the NFL, and then when that doesn't work out, I'm gonna fly the B-2 bomber. No, you're not, and yet he did it.
It says here he is also the nuclear plans officer for the 393rd Bomb Squadron.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he's soon to become a Delta Airlines pilot.
Now, where does he live?
Tacoma.
Okay.
So me and Dusty have started a campaign where we feel like he's gone 2 for 2 with dumb kid macho American dream. And there's only one place to go from here for him to have the true trifecta.
President?
He needs to drive Gravedigger. He needs to drive a monster truck. So the next time Monster Jam comes, we are starting, I'm going to get a hold of some sort of promoter. He needs to drive Gravedigger. And then when they ask, hey, Nick, what do you do in your spare time? Well, besides playing in the NFL and being one of the great Pac-12 defensive players of all time. Oh, and then, by the way, flying nuke missions in the stealth bomber. I like to drive Gravedigger from time to time. It's the only way to go. And he needs to fly it. He needs to drive Gravedigger in his bomber flight suit.
So wait. Okay, so Nick Reed was there.
Max Unger was there.
Okay, I remember Max.
Yeah. And he was, 10 years, 6 Pro Bowls. We were getting in the truck, or the van, I should say, the windowless van. Ooh. And I was like, well, at least there's one real low lineman here. It's very rarely do I get in there and I'm the worst offensive lineman of the group. No, in this case, indeed, the worst offensive lineman.
What other offensive linemen were in there?
No, just me and Max.
Just 2 guys? Yeah.
And Max.
Clearly you're second.
Oh, yes, by a distant long shot.
Yeah, he played a while, didn't he?
Yeah, 10 years. He was
a Pro Bowler.
He's really good.
Where does he live now?
He lives in Hawaii. He comes
in
for the crab feed.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's from Hawaii originally, right?
Yeah, he's from Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Couldn't be a nicer guy.
Okay.
And then Cole Linehan, former Duck D lineman's there.
Didn't he do stuff on CSN back when we were on there? Cole Linehan on there?
I don't know if he did or not. He was the one that was in the SI article because he lost all the weight.
Oh, that's right.
He's running marathons now. He weighs 200 pounds. He's damn near a victim.
Where's he live?
He lives out in Hillsboro, and he's the head coach at Banks,
where Dusty also coaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had a couple other guys. There was an Oregon kicker that was there.
You had a damn kicker.
We had a kicker who had a great mustache, by the way.
Did you haze him?
No, he was great.
To.
The best part about it is there was an old Linfield quarterback whose last name escapes me. But he was there, super cool dude.
What was his first name?
Chris. No, Sam. Sam was his first name. Sam. And he played at Linfield. Super good dude. At the crab feed.
Sam Riddle.
And broke a bunch of records at Linfield. Super good dude. He coaches with Dusty out at Banks.
He's a young guy?
He's younger.
Yeah.
I was the elder statesman. Most of them are in their late 30s, or there was a couple of them in their late 20s. All good dudes. So we're at the crab feed out in the middle of nowhere, not the coast, by the way. And this cowboy dude, Big D, full on cowboy boy. He drops one of these on him because we all look like we played. He goes, "You played, right?" And he dropped an O line on him. He thought he was an O lineman, couldn't handle it. Like it emotionally crushed him.
Sam Riddle?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who's in
Is
shape.
He a little fat now?
No. He's like in good shape, but the dude thought he was the next.
Why would he say that?
I don't know. I mean, he's thicker, but he certainly doesn't look like an O lineman. And let me tell you,
come on, Riddle.
It got in his kitchen. He could not let it go. It was amazing. It was the best thing that happened. Therefore, I made nothing but O-line jokes to him the rest of the time. But yeah, like we left from Unger's sister's house at 5:30 in the morning on Friday. I did not realize that we were not going to the coast till at least 2 hours into said ride.
You're kidding.
No. Is that like
you didn't realize which direction you were going on the highway?
Again, it's 5:30 in the morning.
Okay, I didn't realize it was dark out still.
Right? So I'm in the way back.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
You're going to try to justify this? That is 2 hours?
Yeah. This is honestly how I was told this. Dusty, like 2 weeks ago, was like, "Hey, we got a spot open." He goes, yeah, it's this big crab feed. He goes, it's out in the middle of nowhere, but he's like, we do clams, we do fish, we do, but it's mainly crab. And he said, we're going to drink a lot, keep an open mind, and don't ask questions. So I was like, okay. So
that sounds
thought,
right up your alley.
But if someone says, right, there's a big party and they have razor clams and oysters and crab, you're going to the coast.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't really get the.
Yeah.
So what? How? Why? Crab?
I don't know.
Where did the crab come from?
I don't know. It's 7 hours. We were 7 hours from any coast.
So we were
on the Idaho border.
Okay.
We were in Hell's Canyon.
So somebody brings crab in.
A lot of crab. And the best.
And then you guys all just feast and
Is
get
there
drunk?
a venue you were at? Why is that the location of it?
It's the Lions Club.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a. So like we're into this.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait. You went. You went.
Yes.
This weekend.
Yes.
With the great Nick Reed and Cole Linehan and Max Unger and
Yes.
Sam Riddle and Dusty Hara and whoever else was there.
Yes.
A who's who of local football stars.
Yes.
You pile in a windowless van.
Two vans.
Two windowless vans.
Two vans.
You drive east 2 hours before you even realize that.
Yeah, hour and a half to 2 hours.
To a crab feed on the Oregon-Idaho border, where at the Lions Club.
Yes. You are correct. 100% correct.
My God.
And my gal was livid because she is a detail-oriented person, and she kept being like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was just told to show up, and I'm leaving." And so then, at some point in this trip, she texts me, and she's like, "Where are you at?" And I said, "We've stopped at a casino now to drink and gamble."
Pendleton.
And she's like, "What casino?" She goes like she was like Spirit Mountain. I'm like, "No, the Wild Horse." She goes, "That's not the coast." And I'm like, "Oh, I just found that out." And now she's like, "What in the hell?" And I'm like, "I assumed we were going to the coast." And now she's like, "You're an idiot. You've been kidnapped." And I said, "It's possible." We have determined that the easiest way to kidnap me is it'd be very difficult to force me to go somewhere. But the easiest way is apparently if you just say, "Get in this van, we're going drinking and eating crab," I just go. So at this point, I asked the group, I said, "So we're not going to the coast?" And they're like, "Oh no, there will be no coast."
So wait, you didn't ask that question till Pendleton?
No, before Pendleton. But yeah, I realized that we weren't going the right direction. And then when we stopped at the casino, I was like, "Guys, where are we going?" And that's when I was told again to shut up and just, enjoy the ride.
Well, at that point, there's nothing you can do.
Nothing I could do.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, nothing. Well, I gambled. Here's the thing. Have you ever been to the Wild Horse at 10:30 on a Friday?
No, but I've been to the Wild Horse.
Boy, I'll tell you what. It's no roulette. No craps because they didn't have dealers. They weren't open yet. Oh. There was like one blackjack table and some slots.
Yeah.
It was good times.
Nobody's ever in there probably.
No, but again, we just stopped to drink. And then like the best part is, look, the drinking started at about 6:45. We only stopped to get out of the van to continue drinking at drinking establishments along the way.
Yeah.
And then when we got to where we were going.
That seems prudent.
Then when we got to where we were going, which was the Hitching Post Motel in, I believe, Richland, but I'm not certain. I'm still not certain where I was at. But think about what the one hotel in a town of, we believe, 175 people looks like, and it's worse. At which point we put out tables and proceeded to tailgate on our own in said parking lot. At some point, we then got back in the vans and went to some dude named Randy's shop. Don't know Randy. Don't know why we were at Randy's, but that was a party in Randy's shop where the drinking continued. And then after Randy's, we ended up at the one bar in town where literally everyone in the town was there. And Oregon State legend Dallas Buck, apparently he lives there, and he was at the bar. And let me tell you something. You know what Dallas Buck is into? Snowmobiling. Heard a lot about snowmobiling from Dallas Buck.
Did you tell him about our interview with him?
I did.
You did? What did he say?
I'm not certain that Dallas was fully aware of everything that was going on. He wanted to talk to me about his snowmobiling because his old lady was not happy that he was snowmobiling on a bad knee, and he wanted her to know the snow was too damn good, and he wasn't about to stop snowmobiling until that snow melted.
So the story about Dallas Buck is that we had him on once, and we could not play the interview. We taped it.
It was too bad
because he was he just. I mean, he
wouldn't answer.
It was a terrible interview.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, really, really, really bad.
I just told him that we interviewed him back in the day.
Oh, you didn't tell him that we never played it?
No.
You didn't get all up in his grill?
No.
Yeah, I'm looking here. You are in Richland.
Yeah, Richland? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Richland.
Yep.
Looks like there's not really even a stoplight.
Nope. No, there is not.
And the hitching post looks just like an old.
Yep. It's
old
about
single level motel.
It's about what you would think. And we tailgated right then and there. And at what point, I believe I was drinking antifreeze at some point. They were calling it Glaug or I don't know. It was bright green. I was told again not to ask questions. I called it Riot Punch, and we went from there. Yeah, yeah.
What is that?
Heard of it? Haven't had it.
What's it called?
Grog.
I think it's called Grog. Grog.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
Wow.
It was something else.
So this is an annual.
They've been going for like 15 years. I don't know if I'm invited back. I couldn't tell you. I just was there, and if that's my first and last crab feed, it was a hell of an experience. But if I'm invited back, I will be going wherever the hell we were at to eat crab again because it's a magical time.
So did you stay in?
No. And then the next day we moved to Halfway, Oregon, where me and Dusty played the fun game of what was killed in our room because there was blood drag spatter all over the carpet. And when I say all over the carpet, I mean all over the carpet. Something was killed. We'd like to think it was a buck, because when you check into the Halfway RV Inn, there are lots of photos of the things that people have shot and killed while staying at the Halfway. Mm-hmm. And then when you go in the room, it is a crime scene. And I would just I chose to believe that someone just drug their dead animal through that and not another human being, but I can't be certain.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
I wouldn't worry about it.
We're fine. So we stayed there. And then that town was booming because they had 2 bars.
That place looks like just a house.
Yeah, it's something. So we tailgated in that parking lot, and then went to the crab feed where we tailgated in line at the crab feed. One of the highlights is we ran out of beer in line for the crab feed, so we had to go get more beer to wait in line for the crab feed, and then we got in the crab feed where they had beer, and it went from there. Also, I met a guy in the parking lot that had he had a belt, like a fanny pack belt, but it held 6 beers and it said "Let's go Brandon" on it. So that happened.
Nice.
Yeah. And I also
did he chum up with you?
I liked this one a lot.
You're my kind of guy.
Periodically, when I was in a group of people, this was kind of my go-to. I like to say this a lot. Damn open borders are ruining this country. And then I'd
get like, woo!
So periodically when things were dying down, I just like to yell that out just to kind of get a taste of the room. And yeah, they were one of the guys was calling me the missing link because I was the link between the locals and the group. It was good times.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it sounds like good times. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was
holy crab.
It was something.
Holy crab.
And I ate way too much
crab. So did anybody know where the crab was from?
No.
At the Lions Club?
There was a lot of it.
So you went to a crab feed at the Lions Club in, what'd you call it?
I think it's called Halfway, Oregon.
Halfway, Oregon.
I think.
Wow. What a destination.
It's a destination. I'm
still stunned that, did Multnomah Falls not give it away that you were going east? Or the Columbia on your left? Or
okay, to be fair, I get in the van. I think Dusty has a photo of it. I fell asleep in the van within 25 minutes.
Okay.
I had kind of a late evening the night before. So I got up at 4:30, and to get to the destination, we were leaving at 5:30. So I want to say by 5:45, 6, I'm in the very back of the van. I'm doing the head nod, not really paying attention. And then when I kind of came to and was looking around, I was kind of like, wait a minute. Are we driving through the gorge? And then I thought to myself,
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine. Yeah. And then it was only as I kind of woke up a little bit and I was kind of looking around being like, I don't think we're going I don't think we're going the right direction.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when I was told, again, shut up, don't ask questions, and enjoy the ride. And I did. And you know what? My first craft feed, it was better that I knew nothing going. It's way better to go in blind.
It does seem like that.
Yeah.
Because on paper, that's not all that appealing.
No.
I mean, no offense
to
the fine folks of Truckee or wherever you are. But yeah, it's like, maybe I'll skip that one. But
no, it was.
Yeah. It was jump in the van and be open-minded.
Yes.
And that's the way to approach it.
It really is the way to approach it.
I like that.
And so I was like, it was my rookie year, and I'd like to think I contributed. I'd like to think that I had a couple RBI, but we'll find out. We'll find out whether I'm invited back next year, and we'll see what happens.
And Dusty shaved his mustache.
That's a little disappointing.
I wonder why.
A lot of good facial hair on that trip. A lot of good facial hair.
You football guys, you're zany like that.
Boy, and I'll tell you what, the fine people of Eastern Oregon, it's something else.
It's another world out there, isn't it?
It is another world.
Of course, we live in Portland, so
yes.
This is also another world.
To them, and it's it's like if they had come and went to something event in Portland, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "What in the hell?" But there was a couple of people I saw and immediately was like, "I'm gonna go befriend that guy," and I'm like, "I'm going in." And I'd like to think I met several friends in the fine town of Halfway, Oregon. I met Chet, who runs cows, and his entire family. He was a great guy.
Fantastic.
A lot of hats, a lot of boots, a lot of overalls.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Well, you're out there in the middle of nowhere, man. I mean, that is remote.
It is
out that way.
Remote. Yeah, we were. The big claim to fame is Bear Grylls was dropped there on Man vs. Wild.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
For which like Man vs. Wild?
The original one where he just
the OG.
Yeah, he got dropped into Hell's Canyon.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a predator. You lose it out there, you're in a world of hurt.
There's just nothing.
No, there is nothing
except for the
Hitch and Post Motel.
Hitch and Post Motel. Good time. And Dallas Buck, apparently.
Yes, I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a thing when Dusty goes, I think that's Dallas Buck.
He recognized him?
Yeah.
Would you have recognized Dallas Buck if he's
No. But when you shake his hand, he just has enormous mitts. Like you could tell he was a.
Did he ever go on to?
He's had arm problems. Remember, he hurt himself in the College World Series. He went and threw on like no days rest. And
did you ask him about Luke Heimlich?
I did not. He was very nice though. Me and Dallas, we had a little thing going there. We were talking about snow. We were talking about snowmobiling. He's like, this guy gets it. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Your knee can wait. That snow's not going to last forever.
I love it.
He was a good dude.
Well, it sounds like a worthwhile trip.
Yeah,
right there.
I'm a little. It's a lot. I don't think you could go for another day.
For another what?
Another day. Like if you extended.
When did you guys get back?
We left Sunday morning, like early.
So just a 2-dayer.
Yeah, if you stayed for another day, it's
so 2 nights, right? 2 days, 2 nights.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah,
there was
a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
A lot of high tea.
Not as much as you would think.
Good.
They're all pretty for what could be a high tea group. They are a great group of guys.
Wait, were you drinking grog or were you having Borg?
It might have been Borg.
Well, Borg is blackout rage gallon, so that's probably closer to what you had.
Borg. Yeah, I was just of
what? What's in it?
Oh, it is like a riot punch that kids make up with like a bunch of hard alcohol and I think some like energy drink droplets and it's basically just blackout juice.
Yeah. Yeah, I just called
the kids, huh?
Yeah, it was a.
Yeah, I mean, look it up. It's like like high school and college kids made it popular in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
it's like skittling,
something like
only
that.
With like booze.
Yeah,
yep. It was a good time.
All right.
And by the way, the Fan Man, the highlight for me was a late night. Dusty brought the house down with a karaoke rendition of "Friends in Low Places." He led us all.
Did he?
It was a group. It was they all joined in, but the Fan Man,
he can sing, huh?
Brought the house down.
Do we need to hear him on the? Do the listeners need to hear Dusty sing?
I think you're gonna have to get Fan Man in a certain state, but at some point, yeah, like
no video was taken of this or
no
audio recordings.
No, it was a lot of you keep that.
Yeah, keep that
stuff.
tight.
You keep that stuff close to the vest.
All right. NFL free agency. That's where we start next on the Fan.
Yeah.
is probably what it sounded like in the hitching post out there in Truckee. Or whatever it's called.
Halfway? Or
Halfway.
Richland? I don't know.
Truckee's California, right? Or is that Oregon?
Yeah, Truckee is Northern California. It's North Lake Tahoe.
No, we were new. What's the movement? Is it New Idaho? Is that the one that they're trying to?
Yeah. Greater Idaho?
This is Greater Idaho. This is in the. If there was a capital of Greater Idaho, I was in it. Just so you're aware.
They didn't play that, huh?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear a lot of that.
That's odd.
No.
All right. Well, we've reached the wild free agency day.
I know.
In the NFL,
which we will all make way too much of. And let me just send out my annual reminder that I do every year. Teams that win day one of free agency rarely win jack S, and there's a reason why teams let these guys hit the open market. The amount of Philadelphia fans that are like, oh, we're back up because you signed Saquon Barkley to one of the richest NFL running back contracts of all time. Yeah, these things age like moldy bread. They don't age like fine wine.
Well, what's weird about it is they all seem good at the time, right? It's like most don't really work out, like you're saying. And all you have to do to realize that is look back 2 years.
Yes. Look at all the
Look at the free agent signings and then see how many of them aren't even there anymore.
They just very rarely do they work out.
But yet at the time, it's like, oh wow, that's a good get.
And and a lot of it is because they're names. Like you look at the backs that we know. I mean, look at all the backs that Derrick Henry hasn't signed yet, but Josh Jacobs going to Green Bay, Saquon Barkley going to Philadelphia. Like you get these names, and like in your head when you hear Saquon Barkley, you're like, oh man, Saquon Barkley. What has Saquon Barkley ever meant to the New York Giants when he's healthy?
Yeah, you were given Ryan Cooley. Ryan Cooley is our sales leader here.
Yeah, he's a big Giants guy.
He's a Giants fan.
Yeah.
And he was lamenting that Barkley went to the Eagles.
Yeah, he was like, woe is me.
Yeah. Well, he was also woe is me about his Yankees today, too. I should point out that Garrett Cole is having a MRI on his elbow, and Aaron Judge is hurt, and he was being a little bitch about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I feel so terrible for your plight. But he was saying, Barkley going to the Eagles, that kind of stings, And then you came out and said Saquon Barkley sucks.
Well,
But I don't think he sucks. No. When you said it better when you said, what has he ever meant to the Giants? That I agree with. They haven't been that good. He's been a little banged up. And so it's like, is that really that big of a loss to the Giants? But he's good. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he was 1,300 yards, last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, 1,300 yards.
Yeah, and before that, again, last year, he averaged less than 4 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Like, woo. Again.
But I think you don't think he's good?
He's fine. But running backs rarely are giant difference makers. They're just not.
I know, but I do like.
And you gave him $26 million fully guaranteed dollars. You gave him $37.75.
But that's not that much.
It's one of the largest running back deals ever.
Well, ever?
Ever.
Really?
Yeah, they don't hand out big running back.
Well, I know they don't, but I just thought that it seems like they've dialed back running back contracts,
which is why
I thought this wasn't that. It wasn't that. I mean, I'm actually happy to see some running backs get some deals.
Sure,
because last year at this time we were talking about how no one would pay a running back a dime.
Well, they gave all those guys last year the franchise tag. Do you realize not one of them got it this year? Not one. So I was surprised that anyone was going to get more than $12 million guaranteed, which is what a franchise tag would be for a running back. And here we are, and they're giving out Saquon 26 fully guaranteed dollars. You need to realize that Green Bay signed Josh Jacobs. I'll pull up his contract here.
4 for 48, 12 and a half guaranteed.
Yeah, I thought it was for 41.
Oh, I thought it was 48. Maybe it's 48 with incentives.
I think it's 41. And realize that
how much guaranteed?
12.5 million, I think.
12.5.
That's not that much.
And 4 years ago, they gave the exact same contract to Aaron Jones. So in a league where salaries keep going up and tags keep going up, the Packers signed the exact same deal for Aaron Jones 4 years ago that they did Josh Jacobs.
With 12 guaranteed, though?
With 12 guaranteed. That's a good deal.
For who?
For the Packers. That's value. That's like you going back and buying a home 4 years ago and paying less than you do now.
Yeah. No, right. But it's interesting because you think that's a good deal, but the Barkley one isn't?
Yes. I think the Barkley one is a reach.
Because you just think Jacobs is that much better than Barkley?
No,
or
I just think you got him at a much better price. So
Barkley's is 3 years, 20 something.
Yeah, Barkley is guaranteed. He's got 26 fully guaranteed, and Jones has 12 guaranteed.
Okay, because
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, and that's the thing about these NFL deals, that they announce these deals.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you it's like 3 years, 80 million, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not. Only look at what the guaranteed.
Only look at the guaranteed money, because that's really all they're going to get. Well, generally speaking, the NFL system is absolutely ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, and it's not like anybody's crying poor for the players, although running backs have a little bit of an argument.
Yeah, they just don't.
But
they're not valued.
But players get paid. I mean,
Yes.
they're making a lot of money. So I'm not saying that this is unfair at all. But the system, dude, these teams, the second they can find somebody younger than really good players, they will replace them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And they get cut just like that. And again, I'm not crying about the plight of the players. The players are fine, because most of them land, if they're good, they'll get money from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But these deals are not all that player friendly ever.
No.
Unless you're Deshaun Watson or
unless
something
you're
like that.
quarterbacks. But there's certain positions, and I think running back is one of them, where just the value just isn't there. But
imagine the NBA, or I'm just thinking of it compared to other sports.
Yeah.
Imagine the other sports where really good players in their prime, or maybe just north of their prime, get cut.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like Eric Armstead is getting released by the Niners, and Armstead had a really nice year last year when he was on the field, and he had a great playoff run, and he's wonderful in the community. And
they did not want him. They came to him and they wanted to restructure, and he said, "Well, I don't want to restructure." They're like, "Well, then you can see if someone else wants to pay you that."
He was making 28. Like, he earned that money, earned every dollar of it. But the last 2 years, he's missed time.
Yep.
He's about to be on the wrong side of 30.
And they'll just draft a guy.
And the Niners are looking at it, being like, "Hey, man, there's nothing we can do. We need you to take less." And he has every right to be like, "No, I'm not taking less." And they're like, "Cool, well, bye." And that's the nature of the NFL. And I know people say all the time, like with the Chiefs, they re-signed Chris Jones, and so it's like this, the salary cap doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It does. Think about Kansas City's. They don't have a lot of high-priced guys.
Well, that's what drives all of this.
Yes, it's the cap. So when you start looking at the teams like the Niners, you have to make tough decisions. You can't pay everybody. And so, yes, this is the crappy part, is you earn your money. And even if you play up to the contract, I mean, Armstead's only negative against him is he's been banged up the last 2 years. I think he played 9 games and maybe 12, 13 this year. And you look at that and you're like, man, we're paying you $28 million a year, 29 mil, and we love you when you're on the field, but it's trending in the wrong direction. And we're like, I don't know, you're only getting older. And so you look at it and you're like, you can't do it when you look around and you have to either bolster your roster at other positions, or you have to decide who you're going to pay. Like, they're trying to get Juszczyk to take a pay cut right now. I think Kittle could be a guy that eventually ends up being expendable there in San Francisco, again, because he's good, but he's nicked up a lot, and the production isn't necessarily on par with what he makes. And wait till they have to play Brock Purdy. And it's just it's a tough world.
Yeah, the NFL free agent market is always it's always wild.
Yeah.
And it started today. So here is today's poll question: best free agent deal. This is brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. It is up there on X at 1080 The Fan. Best free agent deal: Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, Russell Wilson to the Steelers, or Josh Jacobs to the Packers. Vote, and you vote hard, damn it.
You know the ones I love, and again, we don't need to go into details and all this, but I love like Cincinnati getting Geno Stone, the safety from Baltimore, 2 years, 15 mil. Fits well in the system.
You know who did that, I think, a little bit?
Huh.
It seems like, just poking through some of these deals, the Browns.
Yes.
The Browns have signed some guys, like I think they got Anthony Walker,
and
there was a pass rusher.
Yeah, and you can do a reclamation project on Jerry Jeudy if you can get his head out of his ass.
But they're not long, like a lot of these deals are 3 years.
Yeah, I love when you get
They're doing like 2 years, 20 million.
I just love when you get nice, solid starters for cheap money. Like, that's the ones when you look back and you're like, hey, we really filled out a deep roster. It's moves like that I love. Most of the time, the big money ones that are setting precedent and you're paying guys that are big household names, those are the ones that you usually, not all the time, but you usually look back in 2 years and you're like, that guy's not on the team, or it was a mistake to give it to him, but we love it because it's names we've heard of.
All right, so those 4 guys all are on the move. Jacob signs with, or will sign with Green Bay. Wilson is going to Pittsburgh for $1.2 million.
Best deal on the market.
Yeah, it is. Cousins to the Falcons, big deal. We'll tell you about that next. And Saquon to the Eagles. Vote on our poll question. Friday, we asked you, how do you feel about college football taking over Friday nights on TV? And 54% said, dope, it's about time. 26% said they were indifferent, and 20% said sacrilege. All right, we'll come back and talk about some of the quarterbacks moving here on, I don't know, it's not really officially NFL free agency because that's Wednesday.
Tampering day.
Legal tampering.
As opposed to the other illegal tampering that's been going on. So
yeah. All right. Well, we know what's going to happen on a lot of these deals, and we'll get to some of those, including the quarterbacks next. Here's Buckley. All right, the NFL's wilding today. Got a lot of deals going on. We just got a late-breaking trade where the Panthers traded pass rusher Brian Burns to the Giants.
Yeah.
For a second and a fifth.
Well, I mean, that's one of those. I mean, he's 26, one of the best young defensive ends in the game.
Yeah, he's a stud.
You know, you look at what that goes for. It's going for, you said a 2 and a what?
2 and a 5.
You know, so basically that just comes down to we can't pay him, or we think we're going to stink. And, you know, what does he really mean wins and losses wise while we're going through this? So let's get some capital for him because we don't want to pay him. But, I mean, Burns is a hell of a player. And now the Giants, I'm guessing, are going to have to reset the market by giving Brian Burns, you know, how much you want to bet that ends up being the largest or one of the 2 largest defensive edge rusher contracts in NFL history. That's going to be an expensive deal.
So he's going to be opposite Kayvon over there.
Yeah, which
that's kind of
it's nice.
Nasty.
I mean, yeah, Thibodeau started to come on late last year. It had been kind of a rough start for him, but kind of going. And, you know, putting those 2 together as they continue to grow, if Thibodeau can really round into form, you have one of the better edge rushing duos in the NFL, because Burns is legit. He doesn't need to get better. That dude is a absolute beast. But it goes to show you, on a crappy team, what does Brian Burns mean? Nothing, because the Panthers stink.
Yeah, but they also, the flip side of that is they signed Robert Hunt today.
Yeah,
the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And they gave him $63 million guaranteed dollars. So
it's like you got to spend the money somewhere.
So I guess, right, it's like what they prioritize. They're prioritizing their young quarterback.
Yes,
you know, they got to do everything they can to you know, try to get him better.
Yeah,
so they decided to pay. So Hunt, was he in Miami?
Where did he come from?
I think he was in Miami.
Yeah, it might be.
Because the Dolphins got rid of a bunch of guys. Well, they didn't pay a bunch of guys.
Well, they can't. The Dolphins are in salary cap. You know, they're in salary cap trouble. And not only are they in salary cap trouble, but they're going to have to sign Tua. And you know, what does Tua get? You know, you look at what Kirker's got.
Kirk got about what?
50?
Well, they're saying 4 years, $180 million.
Yeah,
from Atlanta.
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins.
In 2 years, I think at least 100 of it are guaranteed. So that, you know, 50 a year. And so you look at Miami. I mean, Christian Wilkins is going to have to be let go from Miami because he's going to reset the defensive tackle market. And so
he went to the Raiders.
Yeah. So
today.
You know, they didn't franchise tag him because they couldn't. So, you know, again, you're losing Robert Hunt on a big money deal. You're losing one of your best, if not, well, it is your best defensive lineman. Your other 2 defensive linemen got hurt last year. Your edge rushers
left too.
You know,
he went to the Vikings.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The NFL, for anyone that says the salary cap doesn't matter, you're just not paying attention, because it can be brutal out there when you have to start making these tough decisions with what you want to do. And by the way, the other one too that I hear all the time is like, oh, well, this guy isn't going to go here because of XYZ. You know where players go? Where they get paid the most. And I know, like with Burns, he got traded, but, you know, ultimately money talks and bull crap walks. And yeah, if you're getting 2 equal value contracts and you got a choice between joining San Francisco or joining, I don't know, Arizona or something, you know, yeah, obviously you take San Francisco, but if Arizona is offering to pay you 22 million more guaranteed, guess what? You're signing up for Arizona. It just is. So
yeah, because you know you're going to get. I mean, like we were saying, like it's a pretty ruthless business system.
Yes.
You know you can get cut at any point.
You take unless you're at the end,
what's given to
unless
you.
You're at the end of your career and you're chasing a ring and you've made enough. Unless you're Kirk Cousins, because he does not leave a dollar on the table ever. Most people you're going to take where you get the most guaranteed money, and then at the end of the year you may bounce around a little bit and go ring chasing. But we just make too much over coaching style and fit and, you know, city and all this stuff. And that stuff plays a role. But by far, the biggest decision in where free agents go is simply who wants to give me the money, which is why a lot of times these big name household guys, they kind of go to crappy teams. And usually they don't turn crappy franchises around.
Kirk Cousins' career earnings to this point, care to guess?
Oh, it's absurd. It's 300 million plus. I mean,
to this point, 230 million.
Okay,
but he just got another at least 100.
Yeah, he is. You look at his guarantee,
and he's 36.
Yeah, coming off an Achilles injury.
Yes,
and he's still.
What the hell,
man? Whoever his agent is,
are the Falcons dumb? Are they just dumb?
It's a lot of money, but
I mean, I get he's pretty good.
He's pretty good, but again,
dude,
36, coming off an Achilles injury, and you handed him that? I mean,
what? Okay, so which is better, considering the money? What Atlanta did with Cousins, or what Pittsburgh did with Russell Wilson?
What Pittsburgh did with Russell Wilson?
Because they only have to pay him $1 million too.
Yeah.
Denver's paying him 39.
Yep. And remember, because it's
a 1 year deal.
It's a 1 year deal, and it's a prove it deal.
And that guy won a Super Bowl. Cousins hasn't won a Super Bowl.
No.
So and yet, for Cousins, you get 4 years, $45 million a year.
And I also am fascinated, and maybe he comes back and just sticks it in everyone's ear. And I'd say the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. Could we all find the great quarterbacks that have come back from Achilles injuries? Because that at 36 and an Achilles tear, like we act now like Achilles tears like a number of years ago, that was like a death sentence for your career. And now we're like, you'll be fine in 4 months. So, look.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm interested down there because Atlanta's good. Atlanta has a good old line. They got a couple backs. They got a number one receiver in Drake London. We think they have a tight end in Kyle Pitts if anyone could actually throw him the ball. If Cousins can beat Kirk Cousins from Minnesota, you like Atlanta down in that division. It's just the question of what are you getting with Kirk Cousins, but you paid him and it's not even a butt ton. That's an F ton of money.
I like Cousins, but I feel like they're now Tampa Bay. I mean, that's what they are. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Baker, pretty good. He got a bag too. He got $100 million.
See, I think they actually got him on a pretty good deal.
So he gets what, like 30?
If it all
30 and 40.
If it all plays out, he gets about 33 a year over the course of it, which is a good one. But they're really only committed to 2 years and about 40. So it's a pretty good team-friendly deal for Baker Mayfield.
That's what's weird about these quarterback deals. So today, Cousins goes to Atlanta. Russell Wilson goes to Pittsburgh. Gardner Minsheeld, as he's called here, to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And Baker resigns to Tampa. Those are all marginal teams.
Yeah.
They're not that great.
And
none of those guys are going to put their teams over the top.
No. Quarterbacks like that need to be around superior talent.
Yeah.
So this is why I said free agency, it's fun, but sometimes it's just shuffling the same crappy furniture. Not crappy. It's shuffling the same remanded furniture around a hotel, like from chain to chain. It's like you were a Hilton, and now like you're at a Marriott, and then maybe you're at a Best Western, and then a Quinta, and it's
to your point. Eagles, they go from DeAndre Swift to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
is it that much different?
No,
it's kind of the same.
One's got a much better name. It makes more money, and so
drafted
we're all excited.
higher, and so we're excited about him. But it's kind of the same thing.
I brought up Saquon to our Giants fan. I said he's Odell Beckham Jr. They're nice players, but we fell in love with them because they were in New York and they had splashy entrances. But again, I ask, like, did Odell going to the Ravens change a ton? They're nice players, but if I got to pay that guy all that money, I'll go to the draft. I'll go to the draft and find a running back in the 4th round that's dirt ass cheap.
Right. We'll be back to wrap up NFL free agency talk next on The Fan.
The Fan is
kind of something.
We're
just
dropping drop news.
These NFL deals are, it's a constant refresh. Like every segment, we got 3 new deals, but this is kind of one that I think this is a better deal than any of the other running back deals. The Josh Jacobs, the Saquon Barkleys. So the Chargers, who, by the way, are trying to trade everyone because their cap situation sucks. They're trying to trade Khalil Mack. They're trying to trade Bosa. They're looking at Keenan Allen. They're looking at Mike Williams. By the way, all guys that can't stay healthy. See it. And they just signed Gus Edwards to 2 years, $6.5 million, $3.3 million guaranteed. And Gus Edwards, who was hurt 2 years ago, but if you look at Gus Edwards since he came in the league in 2018, and he is 28 years old now, he has averaged 5.2, 5.3, 5.0, 5.0 last year, 4.1, but he had 13 touchdowns. Gus Edwards is a nice back, and I know he played in Baltimore, and people are like, well, he played in Baltimore, and what did Saquon have around him? Cool. He's still a really productive back that I got at $3 million a year. Not 15, not what I had to give Josh Jacobs, not what I had to give Saquon Barkley at 15. Now I know that the Jacobs deal is only 15 for 1 year, and after that, it's a prove it deal. But still, I'll take Gus Edwards at 2 years, $6 million, because I can go find 2 more of him and probably a nickel corner and possibly a right guard. All for the same price.
No, that's a good deal. I didn't even see that one.
And that's
because is Eckler going to the Chiefs?
Eckler's gone. I don't know where he's going.
I don't know if he's signed yet, but there was some talk of him going to the Chiefs. But yeah, that is a good signing. That's old Jim talking to his brother John.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey John, what do you think of Gus? I think Gus is great. You should sign him, Jim.
No, yeah, it's just I like nice little team friendly deals, and Baltimore, by the way, who hasn't won squat. But Baltimore has been a hell of a running team the last couple of years, and they've done it kind of by committee with some guys that have been beat up. But, they've done it without Saquon Barkley. And by the way, the Chiefs have won a couple Super Bowls with Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and, not necessarily there's not many Christian McCaffreys out there. McCaffrey is a guy that has worked out for San Francisco. They have paid him a lot of money, and to his credit, he has stayed healthy and he has been a game changer.
Well, Derrick Henry's sitting out there, isn't he?
Yeah, Derrick Henry's sitting out there.
Another sneaky good little deal was Tennessee grabbing Pollard.
Yes,
Pollard's not a bad little back.
No
one talks about him.
And that'll save some of the hit with Henry leaving. And as good as Derrick Henry is, Henry needs to play in a certain kind of system, whereas some of the other guys out there, like Aaron Jones, for example, like Aaron Jones can fit in way more systems, and so can Barkley and a guy like Josh Jacobs. They can play more systems than Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's had much better careers, but his style of play, usually doesn't age very well. Think like the Eddie Georges of the world, and you really have to play in a place where he wants to play downhill, and you're gonna have to feed him the ball 25 times a game because he gets stronger as it goes. So, I'll be interested to see what the market is for him. Yeah, real downhill physical thing. You compare him with Najee Harris. And again, what does he want? Does he want Saquon Barkley money? Does he want 13, 14, 15 mil a year? I'd love to have Derrick Henry even at his age, but I don't want to pay him 15 mil.
Well, he might want that, seeing as how he's still sitting out there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys have already agreed to terms
here
on legal tampering day in the NFL. We'll get back to that later. Do have drop news, big drop news.
Mm-hmm.
You guys like our drops here?
Love the drops.
No. Strong no.
Yeah,
full on cowboy boy.
Oh yeah, there's a new drop right there.
Yeah, right there.
From the first segment today. That one right there. Where'd you put that, Buckley?
I can put it on your page, which you have a page of Souk drops, correct?
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of Souk stuff here.
Are they in red? Let's see.
Well, you got red, black,
okay,
blue.
Football's football.
Yeah, that's big Souk.
I like the music I like. Sports is business.
All that's you.
Sports is sports.
It is. It's business. We'll get back to football being football and having to do football.
The best part of football is football. Yeah. And so you got to do football.
We don't get to do football for a couple months.
That's the greatest drop.
It's so
Listen
good.
to that again.
Yeah.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
It's beautiful.
What?
I love it.
All right.
Football is football.
You guys, we got to go. Drop news next on The Fan.
I'm Erin Hawksworth, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Gonzaga could be coming
March, you can call us Roppy Brackets, Suki Brackets,
doing a deep dive into the women's bracket. That's where I'm going.
Buckley Brackets. We're here with bracket news.
Yeah.
Get this. So you remember when the boss, Jeff Baton Rouge, he called us to a meeting. This was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we thought something big was going down.
Yeah, because he never does that.
Ever.
As a matter of fact, we didn't even know he was still around.
No. And it was after work. He was coming in from Hawkinson. We thought something big was happening.
Like he's driving all the way down here to meet with us.
Something's up.
And he didn't, he never says anything on the emails, just like, hey, let's have a meeting.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, God. He's leaving. That's what I thought. I thought he was leaving. Jeff, gone.
We thought Jason Swigard, soon to be president of the Fan.
Yeah, that's right.
A reign of terror was about to happen.
We go over to the bar we were meeting him at next door, and sure enough, sitting there are not just Jeff.
No.
But Jeff, Kim, and Ryan Cooley.
And they've been drinking for a while.
From Cooley from sales and Kim, our GM. So now we're like, oh, this changes the entire dynamic here.
Yeah, like no one's,
Like now we're just drinking.
Pretty much.
So, of course, you and I are like, all right, well, I'm not paying for this, but I'll drink.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, I think that was all a ploy to just get us to sit down and sign off on this deal.
Pretty much.
I think. Because we sat down and they instantly hit us with this idea, and it has come to fruition. So we, at this time, here on our radio program and podcast broadcast, would like to announce that coming soon, we will have a drop bracket challenge.
Because, it is March. Therefore, we have to have some form of that.
Well, they got to make money.
Yes.
And what better way to make money than off our drops?
Yes. Taking existing things, repackaging them, rebranding them.
Yep.
And then putting it out to the masses. Think about like a greatest hits album. There you go.
Well, we do have a lot of great drops.
Yes, we do.
Not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
Now, this is presented by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. Here's what's going to happen. So a carefully selected fan drops committee has chosen 32 of our finest drops.
Not 64.
32. 16 in the ROP regional and 16 in the Souk regional. The bracket will be out soon. Okay, so they're still working on it. Graphics and all that.
Yes.
And then drops will advance by listener vote on Twitter.
Until we pull a Highlander, and one drop will rule them all.
Yeah.
And it will be crowned the greatest drop in primetime history.
Yeah, so you guys will vote on Twitter polls beginning a week from today, next Monday. And then each regional winner is going to get its own T-shirt made by Cool Press Custom.
Yeah.
And so then you can buy said shirts via the Fan Merch Locker, which is debuting April 12th.
Yes, I'm demanding a Juicy for Rock shirt right off the presses.
Those should exist.
It's the one that people
Well, they do exist.
Yeah, didn't we get like 3 of those made?
Well, for my birthday, my wife, son, and his girlfriend all wore them to dinner.
The Juicy
They're
for
pink.
Rock. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
with my face on them.
Yeah, it's like we all need a Juicy for Rock shirt, or at least a milfsforrop.com. I mean, something. Come on.
So the shirts, so that's going to be coming down the road. That's like in a month.
Yeah.
April 12th, I think that debuts on 1080thefan.com. But that's what we're going to do, and it's going to start a week from today.
Yeah, big things happening. Big things happening here at the Fan.
How about that?
Yeah, I love it.
So
How about an idea come into fruition? I mean, that alone.
Well, I immediately was like, that's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, it'll never happen.
But I'm not doing any work on that.
And you've done nothing. Yeah,
no, they have like I said, the carefully selected fan drop committee does not include either you nor I.
No.
And they have actually gone through with it.
Now, do we know, can there be non-Isaac and Souk drops as well?
There are. Have you seen the bracket?
I have not seen the bracket.
Well,
yet.
I've gotten a sneak peek at the bracket.
Have you?
Yes. And there are, it's not just you and I.
Oh, I would hope not, because they're,
and we have some good ones, but no, there's other stuff on there.
I would hope, you got some Dave Bartu stuff in there, Charles, old Chucky Buckles. I mean,
what?
The football, doing football. I mean, I know that's a recent one, but I love that thing.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
I'm sorry. That's fantastic. Full on cowboy boy.
I'm looking at some of these head-to-head matchups, and there's some tough ones.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to vote.
Yeah, it's There's no easy outs in this bracket. No, this thing is loaded. And people asking, are we getting NIL for those tees? No, there will be nothing.
Getting what?
NIL. Are we getting a cut of the tees? The answer to that question is no.
Oh God, no.
There will be
Are you kidding me?
There will be no compensation. Don't worry about that.
I remember back in the old days when we had fan merch. Remember that?
Yeah, we had T-shirts and hats and like little stickers,
towels,
and, key rings.
Yep,
I remember that. Yeah, those days are gone.
Well, not anymore. Yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah,
they're bringing that back. They're like, oh wait, we can make money off of that.
Let's go. So you tell us what kind of shirt you want. We'll see what we can do about it.
It all comes full circle.
There you go.
So we'll release the bracket later this week. You'll be able to peruse, but you got to keep an eye on Twitter. If you don't follow us on Twitter, you must. If you want to vote on this, at 1080 the fan. That's That's how we're going to do it, and it starts Monday.
Let's go.
Well, not today, but a week from today.
Yeah. So don't go. Get ready. Anyone getting a sports Woody?
Is that in the 32? I mean, dude,
I don't think that's in the. It's hard to pare that down to 32. I think they actually had 36 that came up with it first and had to axe
by the
four
way,
of them.
this committee, yeoman's work. We have a lot of stuff they had to.
Yeah, you really
pour
through. You got to dig through a lot.
And it's all subjective. It's like, I mean, I love Bill O'Reilly.
We'll do it live.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's not going to be on there.
No, I mean, Bigfoot's not going to be on there. And that's, rough talking Bigfoot. I mean, that's good for so many things.
And we spelled program, PROGUM.
We got the swinge, taking a swim. We got the Yarmakula. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Where's CJ with his Willamette?
I'm hurt.
What about going to that lake?
I'm going to that lake.
I don't think that makes the cut.
That's new, but it's great.
Yeah. That's a great
the
one.
Willamette.
The Kleovkov one.
I'm very confident.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. And then you have classics like this that aren't even ours.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
It's great.
I mean, that
belongs to everybody.
That's as good as it gets.
The Mike Gundy.
Just yelling at a reporter that he's a man and 40.
That's right.
Oh my God, it's corn! He poops corn!
Best part of that drop is you in the background.
Pooping corn.
Listen to that one again.
Oh my God, it's corn! He poops corn!
What are you doing back there?
That's my Arnold. We're all excited.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
George Brett telling the poop story. We got.
Did you see Arnold with the Oscars yesterday with Danny DeVito? It was greatness.
No, I didn't see any of the Oscars.
You know what?
No.
Danny DeVito looked good.
He did.
He looked really good.
Yeah,
for a guy who has
Danny?
looked disheveled and awful for so many years, he came out and he looked as good as Arnold did.
They
I mean,
did
not the same body type, but he looked great.
They did a great bit with Michael Keaton, both getting beat up by Batman.
Keaton was awesome in it.
Yeah. It was pretty good because they both lost. They were both villains in the Batman movies. Danny DeVito was like, "There he is." Schwarzenegger jumps at that son of a bitch, and Keaton just played it up.
Just stares at him.
Oh, it's just
I'm
cool.
looking at the
He
photo.
just stares like this mean mug, and then he just looks and does the the come on,
Bring it on.
Bring it on. It was beautiful.
Michael Keaton, low key awesome.
Oh, Michael Keaton, sneaky badass.
And I'm looking at I missed the Oscars, but I'm looking here at DeVito. He does look pretty good, although very old. I mean, he's 79.
Yeah. Schwarzenegger, I think, is like 70. I want to say he's like 74, 75. They were great though. They had some good bits last night.
Well, they're a good little comedy duo.
I would like to see them team up on something again. Although now I can't see Danny DeVito as anything other than Frank Reynolds. So just when Danny's doing something straight, like he's doing the Jimmy John's commercials, I want him to pull a Frank Reynolds and pull out his pieces and be like, so I just started blasting. That is his role. And he's done so many other good things, but he's Frank to me. I can't see him anywhere else.
All right, let's get to our stock watch. Coming up next, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. My thing is like
Cell, listen close.
It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts aren't too tight in the seat.
Primetime Stock Watch is brought to you by 1-800-DIVORCE. When you need to take stock of your rights, 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
I was just outside of the studio, and I was listening to, I think, a member of the fan drop committee for the fan drop bracket that's coming, and they were talking about a particular drop. I'm going to give the listeners a tease. This is one of the 32.
Oh, what do we got?
I'm going to tease you with this. This one will be on the bracket.
Should I go right? Should I go left? Damn it! How do I get in that little girl's toilet?
It's a solid contender.
Classic.
Yeah, that is a classic. That's about a snake.
Yeah.
If we were doing like Oscar style and there was a nomination for best long form drop, that one would win, I think.
I think that's right.
It's well played.
Yeah, long form drops like this.
You better believe I clicked on the ad, and it is yarmakula.com.
That's how you spell yarmulke.
and then
They're gold,
and then there's just the fart ones.
but they're a different category.
you know,
Yeah, and then you just have
the small simple fart. You know,
things like that.
yeah.
All right, let's get to Buckley. He's got our stock watch.
Yeah, we were talking a little Oscars last segment, so let's just keep it in that realm. Last night, I did not see a ton of the show, but I did see this moment live, and that was John Mulaney, who was presenting the award for Best Sound. His presentation went a little like this.
What about that moment in Field of Dreams when we hear, "If you build it, he will come"? And then Costner does it. He builds it. Well, I guess he doesn't build it. He mows down corn, and then there is a field. And then he's like, "I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And the bank is like, "You want to pay your mortgage?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And then he finds James Earl Jones, who wrote The Boat Rocker, which I thought was a real book deep into my 20s. And he's like, "People will come, Ray. He's the only one with a financial plan." But what's weird is Timothy Busfield pushes little Gabby Hoffman off the bleachers, and she falls down, and she's unconscious. Then Burt Lancaster is Moonlight Graham, and he comes up and he pats her on the back a couple times, and he's like, "Hot dogs stuck in the throat." And then he can't go back in the game, because I guess there's a rule in Ghost baseball that if you leave the field at any point to become an elderly ghost and do the Heimlich maneuver, you can't return to the field. I love Field of Dreams. That should win Best Picture.
Oh my God,
Mulaney's great.
So Mulaney, in less than 60 seconds, summarizing Field of Dreams better than really I could have possibly imagined, but also got me thinking, is Field of Dreams actually a good movie after all the way that he kind of summed it up and put together? Buy or sell, it's a good movie.
Field of Dreams is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I'm probably a bit biased. Look, it's a silly movie. I understand. I love it. If you have a complicated relationship with your father, as some of us do, I don't know. I think that is the one movie. If you had to say, gun to your head, right, you had to get through a movie without crying, I would be terrified that someone would bring up Field of Dreams, because that damn thing gets me more often than not. So I will make no apologies for that crappy, cheesy movie. I love Field of Dreams. It's great.
Wait, you just call it crappy though?
I understand.
It's not crappy.
It's very
Look.
it's very cheesy. It's very
Yeah.
Hey, I love Point Break in an unironic way. It's not a good movie, but I love it.
I don't know how many movies. What year was Field of Dreams made?
88, 89,
I mean,
maybe.
how many movies are you gonna go back, 30 years later, and say they really hold up? Like, wow, that's really, like, look, it was made at a different time.
Yeah. Well, and it's
89.
89, yeah.
89. So for me, what's the stock again?
Buy or sell, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I buy that. I mean, by all measure, it's a good movie. I mean, that movie. Look, I think it's unfair to say that when a movie comes out in 1989 and moves people for so long, and people watch it and they're like, "Oh my God, that's great," then to just revisit it 30 years later with some comedian's
Boy,
bit,
you're upset that it's been reduced to 60 seconds.
Well, I'm not upset. I just think I'm not going to stand for that. That's no good. Field of Dreams is a good. By all measures, it's a good movie.
I think it's great. Again,
I think by some measures, it's a good movie.
It is one of my top probably 5 favorite movies. And the James Earl Jones speech, the baseball, America's been erased like a blackboard, rewritten and erased again, but baseball has marked the times. I can't listen to that without getting goosebumps. And when they did the Field of Dreams, it was the Giants and not the Giants, it was the White Sox
and somebody.
The Red Sox and maybe the Cubs. Obviously, they did the White Sox because of Shoeless Joe Jackson. Yeah. I'm sorry, but when Costner came out of the corn, oh my God!
What happened when Tim Anderson hit the walk-off?
I had that's the sports chub. My sports pants runneth over.
Don't you think you and I could have hit a home run in that game? The way balls were flying out of there.
They had to have home runs into the corn. They had to.
Yeah, they had a bunch. Weren't there like 10 home runs hit?
Yeah, but like if they made it like tough to get one out there, it would have ruined it. So they had to make it like Coors Field.
Come on, Buckley.
Hey, look, I didn't say one way or the other. I just said after Mulaney reduced it to that.
But listen, Mulaney's bit was great.
That was a really good bit.
That's a good bit. That is a good bit, but I bet you could do that about a lot of movies.
I'm sure. And maybe that's what we should be buying, that Mulaney should do more sports movie bits.
That doesn't mean they're bad. Yeah.
For the record, I like Field of Dreams. It hits you right in the feels every time. But when he breaks down the plot like that, I'm like, what the hell? And I think that's fair.
There's rules.
All right, moving on, we're going to the Mountain West Women's Tournament.
Boy, this is brutal.
Yeah, you caught this one earlier. It has been making the rounds. Head coach Kayla Ard after her team lost in the tournament.
And how do you plan to rebuild for next season?
I'm not going to be rebuilding. I just coached my last game at Utah State. I spoke with Diana, and they're going in a different direction, and I respect her decision, and I hope they get a really good coach in. I'm assuming that's going to be the last question. All right.
Okay. Whoa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. I did not see this.
Yeah,
Utah State?
Yeah, Utah State women's coach Kayla Ard fired before she had to go out to do the post-game presser.
Oh, my God.
By herself, she handled herself way better than she should have.
Yes. 100%. Yes, bye.
Merry Christmas, bitch.
By the way,
that's what she should have said.
That's a great quote. It's phenomenal. She handled that with amazing class. That I saw that today and just... Dude, I shrunk for her. It was like...
Well, it's like, why even be there? You
exactly.
just got fired. Why is she going to the podium? Like, that's awesome right there.
I mean, do you get fined if you don't go to the podium? She's like, look, I need every paycheck at this...
That could be, or maybe she's just like, I want to be able to say that I went out with class or something like that. I mean...
Or it kind of throws egg on the face of the school.
A little bit.
True, it does make them look bad.
And she probably wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she handled that great.
Whoops.
I mean...
As good as you can.
It was fine.
There's no good way to handle that, and she handled it the best she could.
She doesn't sound like the coach at Utah State, though.
No?
The way No, can you play it again?
And how do you plan to rebuild for next season?
I'm not going to be rebuilding. I just coached my last game at Utah State. I spoke with Diana, and they're going in a different direction, and I respect her decision, and I hope they get a really good coach in. I'm assuming that's going to be the last question.
Yeah, I don't know. She sounds maybe...
Okay.
Thank you.
All. Thank you, Coach.
You got a little too much of a Southern accent.
Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah, I caught that.
Maybe a Southern Miss type of coach. No. Well,
yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe she can go to Southern Miss.
She's no longer the coach of Utah State, so maybe she doesn't sound like that for a reason. She's not Utah State material.
Well, maybe we keep it in the SEC, where former Vanderbilt quarterback Mo Hassan had these claims on a recent podcast, Momentum podcast.
I was approached at Jason Aldean's bar in Nashville by the Italian mob.
What?
To fix football games.
I'll be honest, this sounds like a story
like
that
the mafia?
I do not need to be a part of.
I went to get drinks, and I'm not with my friend group. He comes up to me.
Wait, he knew who you were?
Yes.
This is already a bad start.
He offered me $300,000.
He offered you $300,000?
Right. He said, for something like this, my clients, $250 to $300K for a game.
The Italian mob offered you $300K to do what?
Can we stop saying that?
He said, we regularly talk to guys in your position about fixing games. He said he named guys in the SEC who I don't want to say their names because they're in the NFL right now, and that's a bad look.
Deal?
It's a bad deal. But University of Alabama, I will tell you that.
Holy crap.
He said almost every game in the SEC is rigged.
Too much for me.
Who is that?
So he was a guy who threw 17 career passes at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a no-name quarterback claiming that the Italian mob specifically, not just any mob, but the Italian mafia, has its mitts on SEC football. Buy or sell, there's more mafia influence in sports gambling in college currently than people realize.
I'll take things that didn't happen for 1,000, Alex. I love how even at the end he's like, and they offered me, pause, 300,000? at Jason Aldean's bar. Or get out of here, you jackass.
Yeah, what was that about?
Really?
Jason Aldean's bar. Why
He's just saying that's where it happened.
And so you just, well, Nashville, Vanderbilt, but still, like, so they knew who I was. You and your 16 career passes. And by the way, if every Alabama game is fixed, why do they win every game, jackass? Like, really? Every SEC game is fixed? Stop it.
I was with him until he got to that part.
You wonder, and by the way,
the every game is rigged was a little much for me. I do believe that people could be approached. I doubt it would be this cat,
I'm
but
sure
you
it
know.
happens from time to time. We had Brandon. What was that guy's name?
Brandon Lang.
Brandon Lang, and he said you got to keep an eye sometimes on smaller conferences.
Yeah.
It's easier to do. Players are easily got, and people aren't paying attention. But when you're talking about every SEC game, yeah, because you're the only one blowing the lid off of it, douche. And by the way, if that really happened and you did blow the lid off of it, something tells me the Italian mob wouldn't take kindly to it. Like, there's a reason, like, when Paul Hornung got suspended by the NFL, Paul Hornung just shut the F up and took his suspension. Because that was the real mob, and they don't take kindly to people airing their business.
Yeah.
So you going on a podcast and trying to out the SEC, cool. Why do people, like, if you're going to lie, can you come up with something that's somewhat reasonable? I mean, just it's ridiculous.
Do you think he was there with Sydney Sweeney, as one of our texters points out?
Oh, I think it was Livy Dunn. I think she's the one. And Livy was all up on her. But
I think they probably both approached him.
Yeah.
Is the way that worked. They knew who he was.
I don't know who's behind trying to get an athlete to help him out in games. I don't know who's behind that. It could easily be the Italian mob. I don't know, but he lost me there at the end when he's saying now, like. And by the way, this is. Like, no, there is no traction for those comments.
No.
Like, not even the worst rags
are picking it up.
That like clicks are picking that up.
And here's the other one too. When you're betting on Vanderbilt football games and you're paying someone $300,000, that means that you're betting $500,000 and $1 million to make some profit. I don't know if you're familiar with the way these things work, but people pay attention when people start betting $1 million on Vanderbilt football. Like, it's just
maybe they all spread it out, you know.
Yeah, $20,000 here, $20,000 there. Yeah,
That's
nothing.
how those runners do it.
Nothing weird at all.
All right, is that it?
I have one more if you want it.
No, I love it. I think you're on a roll today.
All right. Well, then we will wrap up with this. I'll give you the buy or sell ahead of time. Buy or sell that Giannis Antetokounmpo gave us the best soundbite of the year in the NBA on his new teammate Pat Beverly.
You know, it's one of those guys that, sorry for my language, that you say he's an a-hole. When he plays on your team, like, that's my a-hole. You know, and I love it. So sorry for my language, but we love playing with him, man. He's a leader. He knows how to play the game. He's a winner. You know, I've been playing against him for a lot of years now. I don't think I ever liked playing against him. He always counting the marks again. He's like an instigator. He pushes your buttons. But like having on your own team, he makes the game easier for us. You know, he's going to make that extra effort, that extra play. He's going to dive on the floor. He's going to set the screen for you. He's going to get the extra rebound. You know, he's going to make the right pass. So I love playing with him.
It's pretty good.
Wait a minute. Who's he talking about?
He's talking about Patrick Beverly, who
Who's an
came
a-hole,
over,
but
who Dame had the beef with,
he's our a-hole.
Hey, you say he's my a-hole.
Yeah.
Is it the
I
quote?
agree with that.
Is it the quote of the year? No, but it's a good one. And you throw the accent in there, and he doesn't quite understand that it's, you know, he's saying my a-hole. It's great. I'm not saying it's the best.
I don't know if it'll be the top one either, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, not the quote of the year, but I do like what he said about Beverly. He's right about that. Like, it's like everybody who plays against Beverly hates him, but when he's on your team, like, that's a dog, man.
We say it all the time with guys like Dylan Brooks and like Draymond Green. Like, we all have those people. You hate them, but, you know.
There was a clip of Giannis that we never got around to playing because we were too football-y at the time. I think it was last month or January. But I thought it was funny when he said, Giannis came out and said, and a bunch of people thought he was serious. He said he didn't watch film. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and that was kind of making headlines like, oh my God, Giannis doesn't watch. He was being a smartass.
Yes.
He was joking. Yeah. Of course but he came out one, I don't know why he was so up in arms about it, but up in arms is not the right term either, but he just came out and he said, you know, I don't really scout or I don't really watch film. I don't really know who I'm playing against. Yeah. And people are like, oh my God, how could you? You're Giannis, how could you? Yeah, he's joking, dudes.
Language
Calm
barrier.
down.
Yeah, ease up there.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a language thing. He was just being a smartass.
I know, but sometimes when someone is a foreigner, the sarcasm it can be hard to detect.
All right, that's Stockwatch. Each Monday, brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. Buckley, I must say that was a very good Stockwatch today.
Why, thank you.
Very good. We will be back with in the news. I have weather news and more airport news. Well, new airport news and airplane news and airline news. Things happening on airliners, seemingly on the daily. That's all next. Here's Buck. I missed all of the Oscars last night, so I had to go back and watch this Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger bit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. It was good. And you guys buried the lead there.
What?
Michael Keaton's wearing an ascot.
Yeah, he went full ascot, and he looks like a total badass. He pulls it off.
He totally pulls it off.
Yeah.
It's kind of a subtle ascot even. But
he is aged, even though he's gone bald. He's aged. He's like the new Bruce Willis. He's aged and bald phenomenally.
Yeah.
He gives bald guys everywhere like hope that you can grow old and still look good.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
All right, it is March 11, 2024. It is time now for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All of you. Please be seated. Your noted newsman here. It is World Plumbing Day, so we'd like to give a little shout out to all you plumbers out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a profession and you don't want to go to school, dude, go be a plumber.
Or an electrician?
Yes.
Don't they say?
There is big money to be had right now in that business.
Yeah, they're hard to get.
Yes.
For a job.
And when you need one,
they're busy.
You'll pay for it. That's a whole thing.
It is also National Workplace Napping Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nap at work?
Well, we have a napping room here, don't we?
We have a wellness room, but I suppose you could go in there and take
that's
a nap.
what I mean.
It's really an energy drink room.
Yeah,
an almond roca
an
room.
almond roca room. You go in there and you eat almond roca, and you can have a Celsius.
Did they put the almond rocas in there?
Yeah, that's where the roca is
So we have a wellness room.
Yeah.
But that's how much they care about wellness is they just stack it with product. They just throw a bunch of crap in there.
And there's a green chair that you can sit in, and I don't know.
That is a nice chair.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to do anything in there for my wellness, it would probably be nap.
Sure.
So that's how I'd.
We're not here long enough to nap.
No. Right.
No. Hey, last week I saw something at my gym. I saw an old lady that was taking a nap on a piece of equipment.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it one that you were going to use?
No. But
Was she dead?
I'm not going to lie. I did do a drive-by just to kind of.
Did you poke her?
No.
With a stick?
No. I mean, clearly she was snoozing, but I just.
Good for her.
I wanted to.
I'm going to go to the gym and sleep.
It was a power move. She was up and then I went about my business, and I want to say 5 minutes later I looked over and she was no longer there, but she did doze off.
I am curious, does she go there knowing that she's going to get a nap in, or did it just kind of happen because she got tired during her workout? How does that occur?
How old? See, I think with the olds, it just happens.
Well, her and her husband are there quite a bit together, although I didn't see him this time. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I would say they're in their 70s. I'm gonna go. They're in their mid 70s, and they work out in normal clothes. Like, they don't wear gym clothing, which I appreciate. She usually has some sort of sensible pants on and a collared shirt and headbands though and wristbands. It's actually pretty cute in there, and I don't know exactly what they do, but it's adorable. But I just happened to look over there, and she was, she had dozed off a little bit.
Someone get that woman a pillow. That's great.
I enjoyed it. So I mean, that's not that's not napping at work, but napping at the gym, kind of adjacent to.
Wet and breezy today.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, it's great.
And tomorrow.
Oh, wonderful.
But nice weather begins on Wednesday.
Oh, hell yeah.
This weekend, they are saying it's going to be 75 degrees.
Get right the hell out of town.
And sunny. I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm excited about that.
But that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I got some sticker bushes that I need to rip out on the first nice day.
That would be maybe Thursday.
Hell. All right.
Thursday, Friday. Or you could do it Saturday, Sunday.
I'll probably do it on a Thursday. Got to get out there and deal with them. One of my least favorite yard chores.
I'm going to save the... so on Friday, we talked about all of the goings-on with airplanes recently. We had a wheel fall off.
Yeah.
We had the door plug issue.
Crushing those cars? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'd like to come back to that.
What was the other one, Buck? Didn't we have two more? Oh, we had one ran off the runway.
Yeah, we had one go off the runway, and then wasn't there another odor one?
Oh, yeah, mysterious odor turned around.
Yeah, we didn't know what it was.
That was, I think, Portland.
Yeah.
If I remember right. I get them all confused, and there's so many of them. Now we've got...
they are hard to keep track of at this point in time.
I'll tell you about this in the club, but there was a flight, this was overseas, but there was a flight where both pilots fell asleep.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what happened.
Speaking of working at, or napping at work day.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Autopilot will take care of it.
But
right?
I do have some airport news here locally. I was reading today that PDX carpet, the carpet in PDX that everyone loves to take pictures of?
Yeah, the old carpet or the new carpet?
The old carpet, like the original.
Yeah, the OG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is returning. when they put out the new main terminal, or it's like later this summer, I guess, when it opens, it will have the old PDX carpet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just new version of it. Like, they're not taking the old carpet that they
but
pulled
it will
up.
be the same, because
Same
people
carpet.
were pissed when they did
Yes.
that. Originally, I knew that they had planned, and I'm glad that there was going to be stations for you to just take photos. There was going to be squares for you to stand on. And I like that they're just going back to that's iconic. My golf head covers are all Portland Airport.
PDX carpet?
Yeah, PDX carpet.
It's a thing, and they said that they listened to people about it, and they understood. They made a mistake yanking that out of there.
They did.
And so they're going to bring it back.
Good for them.
In the main, I don't think it's going to be everywhere, but it's going to be in
the
that main terminal.
I know that's a silly thing, but people, I don't know, that's us. It's very uniquely Portland, and people that grew up here, whenever I see that, I instantly think of my childhood, and I'm glad it's back.
There would be no reason to mess with it, right?
No,
It's like,
when you have something that is beloved like that,
just leave it.
Exactly.
Replace it.
And by the way, don't come up with a worse version, which is what we have now. They went from an aqua green to a darker green, and they did the same kind of pattern, but you just made it worse. Like, I get going in a completely different direction, but when you're like, well, we'll just modernize it, that never works. It's a dumb idea.
Bunch of stupids.
Exactly.
Well, they have figured it out.
Good.
And the Port of Portland announced that when it opens, you will see the old PDX carpet.
Well, that makes me happy.
Stop us if you've heard this before. Concrete steps in solving homelessness revealed.
Okay. Can't wait.
Next, here's... oh, wait. Are we going to Buck? No, we're not. It's 4:47 on The Fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation. Online at windownation.com.
here in Portland.
Cruise ships just sitting there, unmanned.
The latest Multnomah County homeless plan has been unveiled. Stop me if you've heard this before, but I mean, I guess we have a bullet point list of the plan here.
Let's
go. Like,
I would like it.
This is Multnomah County laying out the steps to their latest homelessness response action plan. The HRAP.
The what?
I don't know. I just made an acronym out of it. Homelessness Response Action Plan.
Could it be the HRAP?
HRAP.
The
HRAP.
It's the HRAP. The HRAP.
With a stated goal of cutting unsheltered homelessness in the county in half by the end of 2025.
Oh, we like that.
Let's just scroll down to the bullet points, shall we? What the plan includes, the Homelessness Response Action Plan lists a series of steps to be taken within the county and the city itself in order to help remedy homelessness, shelter or house 2,699 more people by the end of 2025.
All right, I like it.
I don't know why it couldn't be 2,700.
No. Rob, get out of here.
But
you can't just say 2,700. Get realistic, huh?
Right, 2,699.
That's better.
Don't have enough money for that last guy.
No.
Sorry, buddy.
No.
Add 1,000 shelter beds in 2 years and provide housing and health resources for those in the system.
Okay. I like where we're going. We're not going to say how we're going to do any of these things, though, right?
Add hundreds more behavioral health beds and open a drop-off sobering center.
Oh, a drop-off. So, like, other homeless can drop off, like, one another to the sobering center?
Increase the number of adults leaving shelters for permanent homes by 15%. Seems a little low, but okay.
Yeah. Well, again, we're setting realistic goals.
Ensure that 75% of people in permanent supportive housing stay in homes for 2 years.
All right. And all these things make sense.
Reduce unsheltered homelessness for priority populations, which the city specifies as people of color and those who identify as LGBTQIA+.
Boy, that's going to piss some people off. That's the... that one's going to be controversial.
Well, you knew that would be in there.
Yeah, you knew that'd be in there. There's
How long you lived here?
There's going to be some people that are unhappy with... going to be happy with that one. People of priority.
End all discharges from behavioral health and corrections facilities to the streets. Now that
makes sense.
I like.
Well, it's like if you got someone that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but someone that's clearly battling something. Remember the jackass that we let out of the Salem hospital, and as he was leaving, he picked up a rock and bashed someone's head in with it? Maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't have been released? Perhaps?
Yeah, I think that one...
That's the best one.
That's a key one because they do oftentimes just medicate and throw people out on the street.
You go. And if you know they're just going to end right back where they were at.
No, I don't know how they're going to end all discharges from behavioral health and corrections facilities to the streets, but that's what they say they're going to do. Increase affordable housing opportunities and better define the responsibilities and contributions needed from community partners to address homelessness.
But I'm guessing that there's not a single thing in there on how they're going to implement any of these?
That's the plan.
Well, I like the plan. But
well, that's just the bullet point plan.
Yeah. I'd like to know what the detailed plans are because my plan is to get into Halle Berry's pants by 2026. Look, it's a long-term plan. I also plan to Operation Best Friend, me befriending a raccoon. That's going on about 5.5 years now. So that's, again, long-term plan. I got things in the works. But, look, I can't tell you what my plan is. That's proprietary, Sean. But, look, we're working towards it. And I think with some community funding and a couple $1 million, I think I can make this happen.
Well, forgive us, those of us that are sitting out here, saying we've heard this before and sounds very vague and they won't implement any of it. And then all of a sudden we'll read in 6 months about a cash crunch or they're stealing from this other fund to pay for it's just, or somebody's skimming off the top. Or, Sorry, we have no faith. I'm sorry. Not some of us do have faith. Yeah. I don't.
I don't either. But I like the plan. It all sounds great. Now please do it. Okay. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye, right?
Well, as I've always said, that's not saying much.
No, it is not.
That is in the news for March 11, 2024. Up next is the Hot 5 at 5. Today is legal tampering day?
Legal tampering day.
In the NFL?
So you're supposed to believe that all of the deals that are happening today were just negotiated in the last 12 hours.
And we put the legal tampering in place because there was too much illegal
Yeah.
tampering happening first. We said,
That's
you know
right.
what? Let's just make this thing that everyone is breaking the rules. We'll call it okay.
That's right. We'll get to all the deals, as many as we can anyway, up next in the Hot 5 at 5 on The Fan.
It's time for High Stakes, a tasty look at clutch performances and the biggest games.
welcome back. Hope you're having a nice, juicy little Monday. It's Rop and Sook, your sports bros. I'm Rop, and Big Sook is right over there.
Right here.
Look at him. Look at him over there. Ryan Buckley is here, I think.
Yeah, I see him.
I don't.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Big show. Or is it?
Well, it's a big NFL news show. I mean, every break, there's like 9 new signings. It's hard to keep up with them all.
I know. I'm falling behind over here.
Yes.
I hate to say it.
There's a lot happening.
So in our next segment, we will talk about as many of these deals as we can. Who made the best deals? We have Mike Tyson, Jake Paul deets coming out.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
And some folks are not happy about that. Coming up tonight in the club, a real-life weekend at Bernie's happened in Ohio. Did you see this?
Ooh, color me intrigued.
Yeah, the drive-through there.
I did not hear about this.
I didn't think this could be a real thing, and yet it's a real thing.
And what happened on another flight, this one overseas, with the pilots in the cockpit.
Yeah. So suddenly, a lot to get to. I mean,
we'll tell you what happened.
The NFL free agent stuff, we could spend the next hour and only scratch the surface.
Well, we will.
Of how stupid the Carolina Panthers are.
Oh, okay. Well, what did they do? Did I miss something?
Well,
the Burns trade.
So ultimately, if you didn't see it today, I think the biggest one is that they didn't want to re-sign Greg Burns, their 26-year-old elite edge rusher.
I think it's Brian Burns.
Brian Burns. What did I say?
You said Greg.
Sorry.
You called him Greg.
Brian Burns. I think Greg Burns he was a corner with my brother at Washington State, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Also, Greg Byrne, I think, is the AD at Alabama.
So Brian Burns. So they didn't. One of the best edge rushers in his prime. Didn't want to pay him. So they traded him for a 2nd and a 5th to the New York Giants. Realized that 2 years ago at the trade deadline at 2022, the Los Angeles Rams offered 2 1s and a 2 for Brian Burns. And they turned it down.
Why?
Because they're morons. And then they rented Brian Burns for 1 meaningless year and 2 1s. So ultimately, what they ended up trading for Bryce Young and Brian Burns was the number 1 overall pick this year, which is going to be Caleb Williams, the 2023 first-round pick, DJ Moore, another 2024 first-round pick, a 2025 second-round pick, and then 2 more 1s from the Rams. I guess the second is a wash because they got a second-round pick in the Burns trade. That's how dumb. We talked about how the Carolina trade could go down as one of the worst of all time, kind of like with the Russell Wilson. This is going to be, when it's all said and done, unless Bryce Young pulls his head out, this will go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history.
Don't they get a new GM, though, Carolina?
Yeah, and that is responsible for this.
Yeah, but he's not responsible for the prior.
No.
He's not responsible for passing on. Like, he can't do anything about the better deal that the other regime did not.
Yeah, but it's still, think about that. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, 2023 number 1 pick, which was top 10, a 2023 second round pick, a 2023 second round pick, and then a 2024 and a 2025 round 1 pick.
Yeah.
That's what they gave up for Bryce Young and to get rid of one of the best edge rushers in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't think that can be pinned on the new GM, man.
No, but
he's got to do.
It's pinned on that organization.
Probably the owner, Tepper, or Cam Newton. Let's blame Cam Newton.
Let's blame Cam Newton. I'm just saying, if you're a Panthers fan today, you're looking at this like you have got to be kidding.
Who's a Panthers fan? Do you know a Panthers fan?
Oh, by the way, you got rid of Christian McCaffrey, and he turned out to be pretty good too.
I don't think they exist.
Maybe not at this point.
Steph Curry, Packers fan.
No, Panthers. Dude.
I meant Panthers. Steph Curry, Panthers fan from Charlotte.
Is he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Seth.
Yeah, but see, he pretends to be a Panthers fan.
Is he really?
Why would you pretend?
Well, because I think he probably feels like he has to, being from Charlotte.
Okay.
Don't you think? Like, he doesn't really care, does he?
I don't know.
He's from there. That'd be like, see, that's weird. Because
I'm guessing most pro athletes don't care that much about the teams that they grew up cheering for.
Were they around when he grew? I mean, how old is he? 30?
I think they were like an expansion team. Them and the Jags came about in like the early to mid 90s.
And he would have been in his teens. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. He might still have been there, and he was at Davidson, and Maybe he was a big Panthers guy.
Yeah, something. Well, today
Can't be many, though.
Today's another lowly day for the Carolina Panthers fans.
All right, well, we'll get to some NFL free agency talk coming up. But right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Well, the Blazers are hosting the top team in the league tonight.
Yes. The red hot Portland Trail Blazers.
The red hot Portland Trail Blazers. Yes, they will not have Jeremy Grant, but believe DeAndre Ayton and Scoot Henderson are back.
I believe you are correct.
But that doesn't mean they'll play. But they were back the other night.
But there's a ton of guys from Boston that are doubtful.
Oh, they're doing that whole thing?
Yeah, they're doing that whole thing.
See, that's annoying. All those people that are actually... Okay, so the Blazers season has sucked, right?
Yes.
You go to the arena if you have tickets and you're like, God, this team sucks. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go buy tickets to at least see Boston. I want to see Boston play. They're really good. They're 49-14. And then none of their players play.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
There's although there is going to be a half-court shot to win a Toyota tonight, so there's
I like
that.
those.
There's that to look forward to.
Those are fun. They should do those every night. Although they probably don't have that many Toyotas to give away, but you know what I mean. Those are fun.
Yeah. Well, there was a bunch of people that were. I'm looking here. It says that I think everyone is now probable except for Porzingis.
Oh, okay, yeah. I knew he was hurt, so everybody's going to play then. So Tatum and Brown and
well, probable. So
okay,
hopefully that means
okay.
there's a bunch of people that were listed as questionable. There was like 4 or 5 guys, but
false alarm.
So hopefully everyone but Porzingis.
Tommy John surgery for Mariners reliever Matt Brash.
We call
nay.
Oh,
nay.
Until he needs Tommy John surgery.
He does not need Tommy John surgery. However, new Mariners reliever Jackson Kowar does need Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year. They got him from the Braves in the Kelnick trade. And by the way, he's one of the Kansas City Royals high draft pick castoffs that sucks.
So you say no big loss?
Well, I don't know. He'd probably go to the Mariners and be great.
Yeah.
That's the way most Royal draft picks.
Not for a while.
But it won't be for a while. You're right.
Well, he's Brash is,
Yeah, he's doing better, they said. And this would be why they signed Ryan Stanek last week.
Fingers crossed.
Also, big news out of Yankees camp where AL Cy Young winner Garrett Cole will have an MRI on his elbow. He has said he is struggling to bounce back between starts, and now they're going to get that thing looked at.
Yankee fan. Well, that we feel bad for Ryan Cooley because he was lamenting the Saquon
No, we
Barkley
don't.
thing, and now this.
I don't feel bad for Ryan Cooley. Never have.
Number 3.
Screw you and the Yankees.
That's what happens when you're a Giants and a Yankees fan.
That's right. Well, he was talking about this. He said, if you're a New York sports fan, it's really been pretty bad. I mean, there are some titles.
Stop it.
Well, recently, you got the Knicks have never done anything.
No.
The Yankees, it's been a long time. The Mets, long time.
Giants have won 2 with them.
Giants got the 2, yeah.
So,
but then you have the Jets, Stinkfest. I mean, it's it's like
you'll never catch me feeling bad for a New York.
Yeah,
sports
again,
fan.
not feeling bad. It's just
If you're a Jets and Mets fan,
okay.
maybe.
All right,
maybe.
here we go. We have a new highest-paid non-quarterback undrafted free agent in NFL history. The Jets. Defensive end Bryce Huff has signed with the Eagles.
Yeah.
3 years, $51 million. Okay, here's some other moves. Defensive end Dorrance Armstrong, formerly of the Cowboys. He's now with the Commanders. Wide receiver Michael Pittman goes back to Indy. $46 million guaranteed. The Bills re-signed left tackle Deion Dawkins. He will now be the 4th highest paid tackle in the league. T. Higgins has requested a trade out of Cincinnati. Several former Dolphins are on the move. Defensive tackle Christian Wilkins signs with the Raiders. Guard Robert Hunt goes to the Panthers. And linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel signs with the Vikings. The Giants traded former Panthers pass rushers. You were talking about Brian Burns. He goes to New York. Carolina gets a 2nd and a 5th. Okay.
So many deals.
So now we get to number 2. And these are a little bit more on the skill position side, on the skill position side here. Jags have signed former Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis. That's 3 years, $40 million. The Bears get former Eagles running back DeAndre Swift. Philly replaces Swift with Saquon Barkley, who also gets 3 years, up to $47 million with $26 million fully guaranteed.
15 and some change was one of the highest per averages of any NFL running back ever.
In other running back news, the Chargers land former Ravens running back Gus Edwards. Austin Eckler, we were talking about him possibly to the Chiefs. He actually ends up going to the Commanders for 2 years.
Super cheap deal, like less than $12 million.
3 other backs on the move. Josh Jacobs goes to Green Bay. Aaron Jones released. And Tony Pollard leaves Dallas for Tennessee.
So it just leaves, I think, King Henry as kind of the last big name. Well, and now Aaron Jones as two of the bigger name backs that are out there.
And then one other offensive line move worth noting. Previously with the Lions, guard Jonah Jackson is headed to L.A. to play with the Rams. 3 years, he'll get $34 million guaranteed. And then number one is all the quarterback movement. The biggest one being Kirk Cousins leaving the Vikings. He will sign with the Atlanta Falcons. It is a 4-year deal worth $180 million, $100 million guaranteed.
He will get $100 million over 2 years. At 36 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. I'll tell you what, whoever his agent is, they have not left a single dollar on the table in that guy's career. But if you're Atlanta, what else were you going to do? Because look at where Minnesota is right now. With they're talking about maybe Sam Darnold, and all of a sudden the market for Justin Fields is dried up. So, if you're Atlanta, I don't know where else you were going to go, but you paid a premium for Kirk Cousins.
People pointed out that they could have had a shot at Lamar Jackson for about the same amount of money last year.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. You're right. That's a good point. The Steelers will sign quarterback Russell Wilson. That is going to be at the 1-year veteran minimum. So Pittsburgh will pay him $1.2 million, while Denver pays him $39 million.
And remember, any money that he signed was going to take away from what Denver owed him. So there was no incentive for him to sign anything other than a veteran deal. So he actually becomes, believe it or not, probably the best value in the NFL. He wasn't terrible last year. Far from it.
We have one other quarterback note, and that is the Raiders going with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I don't think that completely eliminates them from the quarterback market, but
no, probably
it's brutal, dude.
Don't you think?
I would
Because
think
they have
so.
Aiden O'Connell. They just drafted him. So they're saying that Gardner Minshew will compete with Aiden O'Connell, but you got to think they'll draft one.
One would think.
If they're signing Minshew. That deal is 2 years. He gets $15 million guaranteed.
And you're still hearing some whispers that maybe Fields, could be there, but dude, Justin Fields may end up being a backup somewhere. I mean, there's just you're running out of places to start.
The Hot 5 at 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. All right, all the good deals, all the deals. Who made the best deals? All these deals. So many players. We'll talk about it all next on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
legal tampering day.
Yeah, as opposed to all the other tampering days.
Well, it's kind of stupid. The NBA does this too, where they say that. So the new league year starts Wednesday.
That's when any of these deals can be signed. So again, none of these deals are written in stone. Nothing is contractually. No one is contractually obligated to any of these things. So,
right.
but they're reported deals, and there's an S ton of them.
Well, you remember the NBA used to have the scenario too, where it started at midnight, and so GMs and execs would like show up at dudes' houses at 12:01 when they were allowed to have contact, and they'd send cars and gifts, and it got all crazy. And now we have this.
Yeah, because they had so much tampering before the league year began, when deals could be signed. They put in this stupid 2-day legal tampering window.
Yeah.
But now all they've done is just push the tampering back to the weekend before the 2-day tampering window.
So we're expected to believe that every one of these deals was negotiated today.
Right. It's really stupid. There's really no way to, like, I don't know how you would ever, would be the word, eliminate.
You can't.
Tampering.
Unless you really
And why do you even need to?
Because, I mean, the idea is that you there has to be some form of structure. You can't just have the season end and then be like, everyone go. But unless you put in real punitive measures and started taking away draft picks, and then how do you prove it? It's just...
And how do you police it? I mean, that's a headache.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is you can't really police it. It happens all the time.
Every now and then someone gets caught tampering, and they do get slaps on the wrist. But, largely is... And I think that's the idea is every league now basically says, don't make it egregious.
Yeah.
Don't be blatant about it. And as long as you do that, it's like getting caught with weed now. It's like, just don't be dumb with it, and you can kind of do what you want. So,
yeah, you just need to. It's one of those things where you need to have it on the rule books.
Yeah,
but we all know the game.
Yes,
So it's kind of stupid.
And with the exception now of probably Daniel Hunter, the edge rusher out of Minnesota, like the top 20 guys are now spoken for. I mean, there's still some quality. I always say that I think day 2 and day 3 of free agency, to me, is where the better deals come in. I think that's where you fill out your rosters. I think it's hard to get deals in day 1. Remember, I say this every year, most of the time, people that win free agency don't win jack crap in the regular season. There's a reason why these guys are available on the open market. Very rarely do you have someone that's in their prime that's going to sign a friendly deal. Is available. So, I mean, you can get some value, but like Chris Jones, right? Chris Jones is a free agent, but Chris Jones ended up going back to Kansas City because most of the time really good players don't get let go. I guess an example of someone that I think is in their prime, it's a lot of money, but like Christian Wilkins, like Miami wanted to keep him. They just couldn't afford to. So there are some people like that, and he's a hell of a D lineman, Miami, and now he's going to be in Vegas. But he was a hell of a lineman when he was making what he was making. Now he's making $110 million over 4 years. You better pony up. Like as a player, like Eric Armstead was making 28 or 29 this year. Hell of a player. Guy's been everything you could want, team captain, and yet San Francisco had to look at him, and he's been chipped up the last couple of years, even though he's been productive. And they said, we need you to take a pay cut. He said no. And it's like, all right, well, bye. Now is someone else going to pay him 28, 29 million? Because it's the going rate for a player of his caliber. But when you're putting together a roster, it's hard to pay guys at that age that have some injury history. It's hard to pay those guys.
Our AAA heating and cooling poll question today: best free agent deal? Russell Wilson to the Steelers, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, or Josh Jacobs to the Packers? Right now, 38% saying Russ Wilson. That's interesting. Well, that's just because of the money.
It's the money.
1.2 mil.
I mean, like
26% say Saquon, 22% Kirkers, and then 14% say Josh Jacobs.
If you're now the Packers, I love it because they gave Josh Jacobs basically it's 1 year at 15 mil, and then after that they're not committed to anything, and they're so cheap across the board. Anyways, I mean the Packers are made up of people that don't make any money, so they can easily absorb the 1 year at 15, and then if he doesn't work out, thanks for coming, bye. But they gave Jacobs the exact same deal, 4 years, 41, that they gave Aaron Jones 4 years ago. With all the salaries going up, they got him for the exact same price. And by the way, they cut Aaron Jones today, and so he'll be somewhere else. Like that even though that's a good chunk of money, it's not breaking the bank. There's no long commitment to it. You're not paying him 15 a year every year like the Eagles are doing with Barkley. And you can afford it because you're super cheap everywhere else. Like that to me is a smart move. But throwing a bunch of money at names usually doesn't work out in free agency. In fact, most of the time when you take the top, we did this one year. If you go back and take the top 5 or 6, even like the top 10, I don't remember exactly which one we did, but we took every year. This was like 4 years ago we did this. Went back and took the top handful of signings every year, and most of them were gone, being restructured, or just flat out cut 2 years into their new deals.
We have a Steelers fan weighing in, and I'm sure that this person speaks for a lot of Steelers fans today.
Yeah.
Vancouver Ford text line. 503-864-6326. The only saving grace for Arthur Smith and Russ is the bar they are asked to clear. The bars, Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And that's true. He said, for such a storied franchise, they just have no clue what the hell they're doing or how they think they can compete. They're easily the 4th best team in their own division, even with their new quarterback. Yeah, the Steelers thing, I mean, look, I don't think this is a bad deal.
I don't either.
With Russ because of how little you're having to pay him. And it's only a 1-year deal. Like, I would try that too.
Absolutely.
And I think they're better with Russ than they are Kenny Pickett.
100%.
Now, does that mean that they're exponentially better? No.
Did you see what happened to their odds on the signing?
Nothing
changed.
Exactly Did not move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Odds of winning the Super Bowl, right.
Exactly
they're in the
same
same window. But, how often do you get a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl for $1.2 million? Yeah. You have to do that deal.
Yes.
I think, and I think Pittsburgh's the type of team that Wilson fits, because Wilson wanted a little more stability, and they're not terrible, right? Like, it's one thing if Wilson went to Carolina or something, crappy like that. Pittsburgh's a good little franchise,
and Arthur Smith,
it's a fit.
Yes, and you go back and you do a deeper dive into it. Russ, his best years have been when he plays with a good defense and a run game and play action pass. Just flat out. If you look at his numbers in Denver, even the disastrous year, the year before, on play action passes, Russ is a top 10, 12 quarterback on play action. And when he doesn't have play action, it goes down a little bit, right? And when Denver had their success last year, what were they asking Russ to do? Throw the ball 20, 25 times a game, not screw it up, run the ball, protect it. And Russ did that. He was not terrible.
Orange, let's ride.
So when you look at what Arthur Smith wants to do you know who runs more play action than pretty much anyone not named Shanahan in the NFL?
Big Art.
Arthur Smith. So I think it's a good marriage there. And Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin always wants to run the ball. He always wants to play a physical style. I could see them adding another back, although they've got a couple of them. But, there are some free agent backs that you can get on cheap deals. And I think if Pittsburgh, if you run the ball and you play stout defense and you ask Russ to put it up 25 times a game, this may end up being a nice deal for Pittsburgh. Now, I know some people would say then you just hit the reset, because that's your option. If you're Pittsburgh, you got one or two options. You just flush the whole damn thing, and you start gutting the roster, and you say we're going to be bad for 2 years, and maybe that costs you Mike Tomlin. Maybe he doesn't want to be around for it, but you just gut the thing, and you say we're going to go young, and we're drafting quarterbacks, and you just accept it for what it is. Or you try to hit the reset button while maintaining a competitive balance. And if you do that, there's not a better option probably than Russell Wilson. Well, maybe Cousins would have been the better option if you believed in him coming off the injury.
But not at the price.
Not at the price. Cousins is $50 million a year, and Russ is 1.9. Sorry, this was a good day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will it lead to anything great? That we don't know. But it's beyond low risk, high reward.
Well, they remember too, they tried to reset with Pickett and still have been good. Like they haven't had a losing season since God, I'm looking here.
They're middle of the road every year.
They have not had a losing season.
Tomlin's never had one.
Yeah, I'm going all the way back here. Okay, there it is. 6-10 in 2003. Bill Cowher, 6-10, 2003. That's the last time they had a losing season.
That's when I graduated high school.
I mean, they were 10-7 this last year, 9-8 the year before, 9-7-1 the year before that, 12-4. That was at the end of Roethlisberger. 8-8, 9-6, 13-3, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5. I mean, they're just. It's interesting. They have reset at the quarterback position, but done it without a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
Are they the Blazers? I mean, the Blazers are doing that now, but it feels like they were like
They won
above average playoff team, not over the hump.
But they
team.
won Super Bowls, man. I mean,
oh no, I know that.
Come on.
I think this is and people may not love it, and I understand that it's not the sexiest thing in the world. And Russ 2 years ago was garbage, and we had the dressing down with Sean Payton last year, but he wasn't terrible last year. He wasn't. And for what Pittsburgh had, I think he threw 20. I'd have to look it up. I want to say he threw like 26 touchdowns to 8 picks last year. And if you look at Pittsburgh's numbers, that's the best season since they've had Ben Roethlisberger. So, like I said, I'm fairly bullish, and I don't love Russ. Obviously, what's gone on in Denver, but this is a good day. This is a good day. And again, career. This is Russ's career with play action. 77.6% completion rate, 108 passer rating, 112 touchdowns, 28 picks, and almost 9 yards an attempt. And he's going to a team that is going to run more play action than anyone else, and he's not going to be asked to throw the ball 35 times a year. And he got in better shape. He wasn't such a, I'm not going to call him fat, but he got in better shape last year. And he knows that this is his last opportunity. Like if you're ever going to get a motivated and non-douchey Russell Wilson, I think all that Broncos ride crap.
Broncos orange, let's ride.
No, I think if anyone has any sense at all, someone has gotten in his ear and like, you knock that corny crap off.
Mr. Unlimited.
Shut up. It's not going to play well in Pittsburgh. It's a blue collar town. Just
Seattle.
Shut up and do your job. Work hard. I think you're going to get the best of Russell Wilson. I'm cautiously optimistic on this one.
I agree. I'm with you on that.
Meanwhile, Cousins is getting $50 million a year for the next 2 years.
Let's talk about him next. Could Atlanta have had Lamar Jackson for kind of the same price?
Possible.
We'll get to that next. Here's Buck. Kirk Cousins to Atlanta. So,
a lot of milk there. Guaranteed 2 years, $100 million for Kirkers, and
You like that?
overall
You like
could be
that?
4 years, $180 mil. So, look,
he's smart in Atlanta.
Well, where else are you going to go? And this is what I've been saying all along.
You could have had Russell Wilson.
This is what I've been saying all
for
along.
$1 million.
What I've been saying all along about quarterbacks is there just has to be like a separate tier for quarterbacks. Because if you're Minnesota, clearly Minnesota just looked at this and was like, we can't do this. And now if you're Minnesota, what are you left with? Sam Darnold? I mean, they're just
Fields.
I guess you could do Fields if you wanted to do Fields, but if you get Fields, Justin Jefferson is going to leave because Justin Jefferson isn't going to hang around and have Justin Fields be his quarterback.
Are you going to stay for Darnold? I mean, what do you do for Justin Jefferson?
You're just in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble right now. And so that's the problem with these quarterbacks is like, there isn't options. And if you don't want to pay Kirk Cousins $180 million till he's 40 years old with an Achilles tear, someone else will. And now if you're Minnesota, you're just kind of left sitting there being like, oh my God. I want you to realize too, that after Cousins he did that 4-year rookie deal. And then Washington started that stupid, we're just going to franchise tag him. He has played for $20 million fully guaranteed, $24 million fully guaranteed, $84 fully guaranteed, $66 fully guaranteed, $35 fully guaranteed, and now $150 million with $100 of it fully guaranteed. He will go down as one of the richest players in NFL history. And he's a good quarterback, but I mean,
not that good.
Not that good.
So they pick 11th. Is this an indicator that there's probably a quarterback that they like?
It's possible. I would assume
that allowed them to just let Kirk go. I'm talking Minnesota here.
Either that or they're just the number was just so high. They're like, we can't do it. We just don't have the faith. But I would assume at 11, whether that's Penix, whether it's Knicks, whether it's JJ McCarthy. My guess is someone there at 11, or maybe they move up. But this would indicate that you're hitting the reset button, and now you hope that you can kind of keep some guys around, or do you just say you have a very good coach that you put a lot of faith in? So maybe he can get the best out of a new quarterback.
I mean, C.J. Stroud with Houston.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like if you pick the right quarterback.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be more than maybe a season. If that, Stroud's already good. So, like, if you pick the right guy at 11, I'm talking about the Vikings here.
Yeah.
If you pick the right guy at 11, it doesn't have to be a
no, it doesn't. That is
franchise
true.
reset.
Yes.
I don't know why we think if just because you're going to draft a quarterback means you're going to suck for 8 years. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I think it's always the idea that when you draft a quarterback, there's usually bumps along the road, and then you hope he develops into something. But you're right that when you do hit on one, it changes everything. And he's cheap and he's young, and the best time to win. We all know in the NFL, the best time to win is when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, because once you start paying Kirk Cousins $50 million, it takes away from what you can do elsewhere, which is also, I think, one of the reasons why the Justin Fields thing, his market is drying up. And I don't think Justin Fields is terrible. I don't think he's good. I think there's still some things to prove with him, but realize you're gonna have to pay him the 20 whatever million on the option, and then even if he does have a decent year. The market for a decent quarterback now is somewhere in between Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones, and that's between 33 and 43 mil a year. That's the going rate for a solid, not
except for Russ Wilson.
Except for Russ.
Although Denver's paying him $39 million.
Exactly. So together, Russ is a $40 million. That's a $40
That's
million
why Russ
bag.
is such a. I mean, that is a unicorn of a deal.
Yes. It's the best
really
deal
good.
you'll ever get for someone that's hopefully still has some life in the tank, but we'll see. The Baker deal in Tampa, that's not a bad deal. Like Baker, again, they're not committed to him for beyond 2 years, and if Baker ends up having a solid run there, he'll average 33 per year.
So that's a bit like the Geno Smith deal.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
A little more, but he's a little better than Geno.
It's very much like, hey, we want to give you some money, but at the same time, you're going to have to play for it, and if you're not, if you don't play good,
yeah.
Dude, we're not going to keep you around, but if you do, we're giving you a solid thing. And so for Baker going from where he was at, he played last year on a $4 million prove-it deal after that wasteland season in Carolina and with the Rams. This is a good deal for both. And I wish there were more Baker Mayfield deals out there to be had for solid starting quarterbacks, because Baker isn't great. He's not terrible. He's in that middle road category. And I think that's a fair amount. But man, when you're having to pay a guy, a 36-year-old guy coming off Achilles surgery and you gave him $100 million over 2 years guaranteed, that is some wheelbarrow type balls maneuver there out of Atlanta, but it shows you how desperate you are because Atlanta's good. Atlanta's got a roster and they just need a quarterback, and this shows you that there just isn't a lot of good options out there.
So Buck was saying that, they were in on Lamar Jackson last year when that was getting weird with Baltimore.
Yep.
They could have had Lamar. What were they saying for Lamar?
Like $200 million is what he was looking for at the time.
Very similar,
which
to
is
what,
really similar to what Kirk got.
And it goes back to the question: is some people were saying they didn't want to be a stalking horse for the Ravens. So some people said the Ravens were never going to let that happen. They would have matched the deal, and maybe they would have, but there really wasn't much of an attempt. And so again, I ask you: would you rather have, what is Lamar, 28? Would you rather have a 28-year-old Lamar Jackson for roughly the same money, or do you want a 36-year-old Kirk Cousins? But they
27.
27.
Just turned.
Doesn't turn 28 till next year.
So we'll see. We'll see what Cousins does, but you're certainly shoving your chips to the middle, and Cousins is running out of time to actually do something other than make a lot of money.
I'm sorry. This is a weird one because both these guys are good. They're good.
Yes.
But if I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, I am rolling my eyes at the combination of Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
What you've just done, I'm like, what?
With a good young roster.
Yeah, and they've got some pieces, but it's like, that's the coach quarterback combo we're going with here?
Yeah.
That is not Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes.
No, it is not.
So good luck with that. I mean, and it's like, that's frustrating because it's like, it doesn't mean they can't win.
No.
You saw what Tampa did in that division, going to the playoff. They could be like that.
Yeah.
But we all know Tampa wasn't winning a Super Bowl.
No.
And we all know Atlanta's not winning a Super Bowl. So what are we doing here? What are we even doing?
You're trying to get yourself into the dance.
Into the what?
Into the dance.
No, I know, but it's just like
trying to get yourself into the postseason.
I'd rather just take the Cousins thing for that kind of money, that's a lot, but I like him. I think he's stable. But like you said, 36 off an Achilles. But the coach thing, I would rather just take a shot at a young offensive guy, that could pop as opposed to a retread.
And maybe this is another one why Cousins was appealing, is because you didn't do that. So maybe you want to get someone that's a little more just stable, right? And you would think at this point in his career, Cousins, who's a very dedicated film guy, you would think that that alleviates some of that concern, not having necessarily the offensive minded coach. That Cousins almost comes with a built-in coordinator in himself.
It's better than what the Raiders did. The Raiders got Minshew.
Yeah. And
so they'll probably take a quarterback. They pick 13th.
One would think that they're in the market, or maybe there's still some hope that they do the Justin Fields thing. I want to see what Fields goes for, because originally there was some talk that a second, could get Fields.
Not anymore.
After what Mac Jones had in New England, I think you might get up. If the Bears get offered a fourth, I think they're laughing and being like, "Let's go."
Well, so Pierce is the new coach in Oakland or in Vegas, right?
Yeah,
and we like him.
Yeah,
did a nice job.
Did a nice job.
But he's a ground and pound guy, isn't he? Didn't he run Josh Jacobs ragged?
Well, he came halfway through.
I know, but who's going to run the ball for them? Like I don't know. I just don't see him. I don't see him. Liking the idea of going into his first full season as head coach with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
I think it's not ideal.
He's probably going to get, and I don't know who their new GM is.
And I'm guessing Devontae Adams is not thrilled with that as well.
Pierce is probably going to have a hand in fixing all that in the draft.
Whether you go with, the only other quarterback that's really out there again is Fields, or, in the draft, you address it then.
Well, somebody said Trey Lance to Minnesota is a possibility.
Again, that's where you're hitching your wagon to, is Trey Lance. God bless you.
Potential.
I guess.
I don't know.
But again, this idea, simply because we know names. Look, if Trey Lance is your savior, you've done stepped in it one too many times. So I'm with you. I would rather at this point, if I'm one of those teams, draft. Supposedly there's 6 first-round quarterbacks. Half of them bust, half of them don't. Take a swinge and hope that you get one of the good ones. And there should be some there at 13, I would hope. Because, we know that 1, 2, 3 are probably going to be quarterbacks. So at that point, you're picking amongst some combination of Penix, Nix, McCarthy, right? Is the other 3. Who's going to be there, and what sort of valuation do you have? Do you feel like you have to move up into the top 10 to go get it? How much does it take to move up 2 or 3 spots? But the I'd say like 7 through 13 are going to be very interesting. What happens with these quarterbacks in the draft?
All right, we'll wrap up the hour next and move it on to the club when we return. It is 5:47 on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
You know, I know fans at this point we're not big dance unless we win the tournament. You know, at this point in the season, you want to be in the big dance and know you're going to the conference tournament just to improve your seat. Okay, I know all that. But our guys never quit. I mean, we never gave in to it.
That is Midwestern Girl Dad, Dana Altman.
Yeah.
Being all sensible.
Well, it's...
All right. Just had an almond roca.
Wow, it's dangerous.
Are you kidding me?
You can have 3 more, by the way, before this show's over.
Maybe 1. I'll give myself 1 more. That was only my second for the day.
Yeah.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah, that's not bad. You can't get out of this building without having at least 1. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of guaranteed, Leonard Williams re-signing with your Seattle Seahawks. 3
Lenny.
years, 21.5 per. Highest paid defensive player in Seahawks history.
Aren't all the Seahawks fans freaking out right now?
Well, they were just upset because they didn't feel like they were doing anything. But they re-signed Fant. They re-signed Leonard Williams. You know, they let some guys go. But again, welcome to free agency. Teams that freak out or get a sports boner over the first day of free agency, I don't know what to tell you, man. Just anyone getting a sports woody, relax. just relax. It's gonna be okay.
I wonder if that's gonna be on our drops bracket. Sports Woody. They probably got to keep it clean.
Probably
for the kids, you know.
Probably.
I've never seen so much dong in my life. By the way, quick NCAA tournament note. Do you like the NCAA tournament?
Love the NCAA tournament.
It's coming up.
I saw today in the I don't remember, it was the whatever conference it was, but like Towson was playing
Towson.
They were playing, God, I don't know. They were playing somebody and they were at the line with like 18 seconds left, and the Towson guy had a 1-and-1 to tie the game, and he airballed
the front end. I saw it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Is that a choke?
I think
chance
that
to be a
is.
hero.
What kind of a shooting percentage does he have from the line?
I'm not sure if you're aware of my Towson knowledge, but
Towson.
Townsend.
It's not Townsend. It's Towson.
Whoever the hell that is, I'm not familiar with their small white guy's free throw percentage. But as a small white guy, you would hope he'd be able to shoot free throws.
Yeah, usually the little white guys are like,
yeah,
at least 79%.
I don't know what he shoots, but he shoots air balls in the clutch, and I feel bad. And
he will never forget that.
Conference semis, and they were the 5 seed going against the 1 seed. Oh. You got a chance to give yourself an opportunity to win that game, or at least send it to OT, and you hit nothing. That one's gonna sting.
Well, what I was going to tell you is there are 45 schools with 0 NCAA tournament appearances. 45. Jason?
Yeah?
There are now 44.
Really? Who punched their ticket for the first time?
Stetson.
The Hatters.
The Hatters of Stetson have made it.
Really?
Yeah. From the Atlantic Sun.
I love the fact that the Stetson whatever, or the Hatters, that's badass.
Yeah, and I'm looking through the list of schools that have never made it. There's really no big schools that you would...
Well, no. I mean, look, can we say making the NCAA tournament isn't like... Eventually, Portland State makes the tournament every so often, for God's sake.
Sacramento State's on here.
Okay.
South Dakota. Got
Kansas is on there. They make the tournament from time to time.
High Point, Grambling.
Now, is the Stetson Hatters, is that related to like the hat brand?
I would imagine that's where they got the moniker, but I don't know for sure.
But where is was the university like Oral Roberts? It was founded by Oral Roberts. Was like John Stetson the guy that made the hat?
It's a private university in DeLand, Florida.
Yeah, and it is. They're saying their mascot is named after Philadelphia hat maker John Batterson Stetson.
So how the hell did a school in Florida end up with the Stetson name? I'm very confused, but let me just say for the record, go Stetson.
Yeah, maybe he must have went there or something.
Did he go there? I don't know. It's a cool logo.
I'm going to find out.
Hat?
Yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this, guys.
Yeah, please.
Nobody Googles like us.
I've got Stetson and Towson questions. Did I say that right finally?
Towson, yeah.
Towson?
There you go.
Where the hell's Towson at?
New Jersey?
Yeah, well, they're not going to the tournament. I know that. There's a dude.
Or am I thinking of
dudes out there shooting
Towson, Maryland.
Damn it.
Close.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. No egg on face.
Whew. Thank goodness.
So it says that Stetson was first called DeLand Academy, but and that was named after the principal and founder of the town, DeLand, Florida. But it says that in 1889, the name was changed to John B. Stetson University to honor the well-known manufacturer who made generous donations to Stetson.
Oh, kick ass.
So he must have went there. Why else would he donate?
I would assume, right?
Do you make generous donations to schools you didn't attend?
Only if it meant that I could get the university named after me. Like if you could be the Fightin' Sucanics.
Ooh, he was nicknamed the Boss of the Plains.
Okay, first off, I'm going to do a deep dive. What did you say? It was John Stetson?
John B. Stetson.
First off, John B. Stetson, power name. Second, you invented the GD modern cowboy hat, and you were known as the Boss of the Plains? What in the hell? And now you have a university named after you? Hello, Man Crush on John B. Stetson.
I'm going to start telling people I played baseball at Stetson.
You probably should. 100%. You were a crafty lefty for the Hatters?
Yeah.
I like where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Look it up. See if challenge someone. I'm guessing that the Stetson baseball roster is not readily available online from when you would have played.
Well, actually, I'm seeing here Corey Kluber played there.
Really?
Maybe I need to back off a bit.
Oh, no. Because that's one of those you can be like, that was long before, Kluber.
Well,
he's the most famous
He's kind of my age, isn't he?
Kluber?
How old's Kluber?
You think
is he pushing 40?
You think Kluber's like 48 years old?
No, but is he pushing 40?
Whoa, Jacob deGrom went there?
Really?
What?
Great baseball program.
Pages in category, Jason deGrom.
Me, deGrom, and Kluber.
You say Jason deGrom?
Oh, Jacob deGrom. I don't know why I said Jason. You're Jason.
Did Jason deGrom,
Jacob Sakanik,
his bastard brother? What?
no, I'm just gonna. Yeah.
So are we saying that?
Hold on a second.
That Stetson University is low key?
Can't be
great baseball program.
37, Mr. Kluber.
All right. So yeah, I was a little before him. I paved the way for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you go
Corey
with that.
Kluber.
Oh, dude, you 100% roll with this. I mean, think of the legacy: Rop, deGrom, Kluber, just one after another.
Yeah, I'm looking here.
Yeah, right here.
Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, it said after not being selected in the Major League Baseball draft out of high school, deGrom enrolled at Stetson and played for the Hatters. He was exclusively a shortstop during his freshman and sophomore seasons. Go figure.
A rich baseball history at John B. Stetson University.
I'll be damned. Boy, did anyone see that? Of all the things that could have popped up on the program, hot John B. Stetson University baseball talk on free agent day, or free agent tampering day. Holy cow. Are you all right over there?
I'm just reading about Stetson.
Are you still going with you played at Stetson, or do we need to find you a new university to play at?
Well, so I went to college in the 90s. Let's go.
Chargers tight end Donald Parham went to Stetson.
They were pretty good in the 90s when I was there.
Yeah.
That makes it tough.
That does make it tough. Yeah, you got to find someone.
They were like 42 and 23.
Where did Harper enroll? Remember he enrolled at some crappy college for a year so that he could get into the bigs? Maybe you go with that.
Yeah, wasn't it in Nevada?
Yeah, he played.
Well, he's from Vegas.
Oh yeah,
College of Southern Nevada.
I think you go with that. I think you played.
I played ball there.
I think you played ball at the College of Southern
recruited
Nevada.
Bryce Harper to there with my NIL deals.
How is anyone going to question that you played baseball at the College of Southern Nevada and that you just were making your way west?
Yep.
From Kansas to Nevada and then up to the Pacific Northwest. Let's go with it.
That's right.
Put it on the bio. Who was the Central Florida coach that got fired because he made up that he graduated from someplace? It was the old.
George O'Leary?
George O'Leary, right? Did he get fired from Notre Dame because he
fake degree?
Yeah, he had like a fake degree. Go with this. Dare someone to prove that you didn't play at the College of Southern Nevada.
That's right. Prove it. Look it up. Can't find their info online.
No, zero chance.
All right, we're back with the club next on The Fan. Hey, I'm going to stick around and tell you about the deal they have going on at Window Nation for March. March is a critical time to check your home's windows. We've gotten a lot of rain. Perhaps they're leaking. Now would be the time to call Window Nation if they're cracked or they won't open or
then. He was a hard man for hard times.
It's
With
one
a-
of those
with a
white,
cool hat.
those white beards with that's just. I don't know. It's how do you describe that? It's just. It's just old timey.
Yeah, exactly. It's old timey.
Big old mustache.
Yeah. You know that there's probably some problematic things in his past, but
well, look.
In the time, he was the bee's knees. Yeah, like again,
The boss of the plains.
the boss. My guess is there's probably some uncomfortable Native American things in there. Maybe some immigrants didn't like the Irish. I don't know. But I'm just saying, he looks freaky and fantastic, and you could do a lot worse than being called the boss of the plains. I guess there's at Stetson University, there's a statue of him on a bench with his arm out, and he's tipping his hat to you. So you can go.
Well, he was a hatter.
He's a hatter.
That's what he did.
Yeah. It's pretty badass. I've long wanted to be a hat guy. Just, I can't do it.
A hat guy? What do you mean, like a Stetson hat?
Well,
type of hat?
some kind of cool non-baseball hat. Like as I've gotten older, I
Fedora?
flirted with it many a time, and I can't do it.
You could do a fedora.
Boy, I don't
Just
know.
you can't pull it out like all the time.
Yeah.
When I was out of college, I worked
What?
at a hat shop that sold fedoras, flat caps, like Panama hats, straw hats, all sorts of hats. I got a free hat a month, so I was very much a hat guy. But yeah, you can't pull off a fedora on the reg unless you really want to commit to that bit. I feel like the same thing flies for like a Stetson. A lot of people can look good in one, but you can't just wear one out on a random day and expect that to be okay unless you're always doing it.
There's a great hat that I have flirted with many a time, and it is a Stetson. It's called the Stetson Open Road. Think like Ben Harper, right? Or like Hopper from Stranger Things. It's a cowboy hat, but it's more Bob Dylan than it is.
It doesn't curl up as much, and it's not like 10-gallon-y.
Yeah, it's not. It's somewhere between a fedora and a cowboy hat. It's called the Open Road, and I flirted with it many, many a time. But they're like $250, and therefore, if you spend $250,
They're like $280.
$280, and you buy that thing, I guarantee what's going to happen is I buy that thing, I put it on, I'm like, I look ridiculous, and now I have a $280 hat that sits in a closet somewhere.
I think you need a sedge hat.
What's a sedge hat?
That's like those with your affinity for the Asian.
Yeah. The Asian culture, if you will.
Yeah.
It's Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
You should do that.
Yeah, because that's not awkward.
Why? Well, you have Asian kids. You have an Asian girlfriend. You love the Asians. You travel to Japan. Just put on the sedge hat.
Wear that and
just see what happens.
Just see what happens. Yeah, I'm sure in Portland I won't get any hell for that at all. None. What is that? What is it? The cultural appropriation?
There you go.
I once got accused of cultural appropriation with my tattoos, which is fascinating because, well, they're all my ethnic tattoos. But people get very mad at that sort of thing. I'm guessing and then I cruise around Chinatown in that thing and just see what happens.
That's amazing for
doesn't
someone
look
to
like
take
bit.
a shot about like the authenticity or your right to have that tattoo when in fact you're like I guess if you had like the Japanese kanji or whatever, people are like, clearly you're not Japanese, but the audacity to tell someone that your like tattoos aren't legit because they don't know where you're from, that's ridiculous.
I mean, my daughter, who's mixed, she has a Korean tattoo for her late mother on her, and some lady when she worked at the bank got all up in her kitchen and then didn't believe that she was Korean. She goes, "I'm Korean." She's like, "No, you're not." Actually, just flat out drop that.
Go ahead and climb out of my ass for a while.
Well,
climb out of my ass.
The culture warriors.
I'm Korean.
They're big into that. They want to make their stand, and God bless them.
Hey, I have a quick before we get really on track with the show.
Are we really getting on track at this point?
Well, I've got airplane news.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on the latest mishap in the air, which seems like a daily occurrence these days.
Yes.
Before we get to that, I have a show recommend.
Oh.
Because we were just talking about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
That I take show recommends very seriously, and I think all people should.
Yeah. People are very flippant about it, 100%.
And you even apologized for a show recommend that you backtracked, you walked it back, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Because you got to admit when you've given out a bad rec.
I did.
And right the wrong.
I recommended the new season of Fargo, and about 4 episodes in, I immediately regretted it, and I did. I not just walked it back, but I flat out said, "Don't do it." Don't even start it because you're going to get 2 episodes in and be like, hey, this is pretty good, and then get ready to hate it.
But yet, just a month ago, you told me that was your rec to me.
You know what? Two episodes in, it was premature.
Are you kidding
I jumped the gun, and I apologize.
Okay, so you just, I don't know. I just think it's important.
I agree.
So I don't throw this out there lightly, but I will tell you this. I'm not even done with it. It's only the first season. Not done with it. Don't care. Very high recommend coming from me on this show.
Oh boy.
Have you started The Gentleman on Netflix yet?
I have not.
Do it.
See, I am very suspicious of this because I
love the movie,
and I cannot say this enough. If you want a movie recommendation that maybe you haven't seen, watch The freaking Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And
I actually haven't seen that.
Oh, dude, it's
you're
great.
Missing out.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to go down the show road because I love the movie.
This is why show recommendations need to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
I do not toss this out there to you lightly.
But you know what, Suk? This is a perfect example because Fargo's the same way. I didn't want to give Fargo a shot, the TV series, because I love the movie so much. I'm like, how are they going to spin this off of that? This doesn't make sense. And Fargo, the TV series, was stellar.
See, I had a friend of mine text me last week when we were doing this, and he said, I'm getting close to recommending The Gentleman. He said he wasn't there yet, but he said he was considering it.
I find it so good. And it's done by Guy Ritchie did the movie.
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie is doing this series.
Yes.
Guy Ritchie doesn't mess around, dude. He's not going to F up his own
I didn't
movie.
know Ritchie was doing it.
Yes, this is his show, and it is every bit as good as the movie. The first episode, by the way, I mean, I hard recommended this to someone after the first episode.
Really?
That's how excited I was about it. Because the first episode is really good. I would say it's the best one so far. I'm on episode 5.
Yeah.
But it is definitely good. If you like the movie The Gentleman,
love it.
then you're going to love the series.
Is it the same?
It's the same idea.
Is it the same
yes,
character?
he inherits.
He plays
Well, yeah, he inherits the
weed business?
His dad's estate.
Oh, so it's McConaughey's kid.
And at the main character is Theo James, and he's the guy from White Lotus, the second season of White Lotus.
Yeah.
And he is the kid who inherits the weed farm, which he didn't know existed on his dad's beautiful English estate.
Interesting.
And it's just fantastic. I love it. I love everything about it. And quite frankly, I'm a Guy Ritchie P1. Like I think he's
I do like Guy
I think
Ritchie.
he's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm excited.
So
now.
if you like, what was the movie with what was the other Guy Ritchie film?
Snatch.
And if you like that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you're gonna love The Gentleman.
Interesting.
So it's on Netflix.
Well, now I'm gonna have to watch it because I'm getting a lot of pressure right now to start a new series,
dude.
From the missus.
Watch
so
it.
we're gonna
I don't know if she'll like it.
We'll have to give this a whirl.
But it is the first episode with the chicken costume is just great. It's just great.
And I think what scared me away especially from it, not only did I really love it, but the last, I tried to give The Lincoln Lawyer. Have you seen the movie The Lincoln Lawyer?
Yeah, but it's been years.
Love it. McConaughey, phenomenal. Couldn't recommend it enough. It's incredible. Marissa Tomei, God, what is that? Ryan Phillippe, McConaughey. Great film. William H. Macy. Great movie. And they made that into a TV series, and I tried it. Oh, my God. Hated it so much.
Really? Because I didn't watch it at all. Probably same reasons, but I thought people liked that.
I've got some scars built up with McConaughey movies becoming TV shows. But based on your recommendation, The Gentleman will be started tonight.
Someone said, if I haven't seen The Gentleman movie or show, which should I watch first? Watch the show first.
Okay.
And again, I'm not even all the way through the show. I would say watch the show, and then the movie is just a movie version of the show.
Sure.
Vancouver Ford text line. I binged The Gentleman in 1 8-hour sitting. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right.
You're gonna love it.
I'm on board.
You're absolutely gonna. And I don't even know how it ends. I just trust Guy Ritchie. I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I
the rest of the way.
I like me some Guy Ritchie. I love The Gentleman. So based on that recommendation, all right. I know you take it seriously. I'm gonna give this a whirl.
I do. And The Brother is hilarious.
My lady's gonna be excited that I come home tonight with a recommendation.
Now I don't know if she'll like it.
Well, she'll fall asleep anyways.
Because my wife, you know what my wife does? She'll walk by when I'm watching something. She'll go, "Oh, what's this?" She probably saw Theo James.
Sure.
Who's an oily bohunk.
He's an oily bohunk, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, The Gentleman." And she watched for maybe 5 minutes and was like, I'm going to go back to Bridgerton.
I did that with Love is Blind. She tried to get me to watch Love is Blind. I made it through 7 minutes.
Get out of here.
And I was like, what? Okay.
All right. Coming up next, did anyone even know? It's 6:16 on The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch, and now Windows.
several pieces of airline news. Boy, it's getting hairy out there.
Yeah. The friendly skies are no longer that friendly.
No. You got to watch out.
People are losing their ass. Planes are losing wheels and doors.
They're skidding off runways.
Yeah.
Now we got apparent suicides. We'll get to that in a moment. But first I want to tell you...
Well, that was that Malaysian airliner that went down. Like, no one knows what happened to it. Yeah, we do. The pilot committed murder-suicide.
2 pilots fell asleep mid-flight.
Yeah. That's,
this was a Batik Air flight. Batik Air. B-A-T-I-K. Am I getting that close to right?
I don't know.
Batik.
Note to self, don't fly Batik airline. Where was this going to?
2 pilots fell asleep aboard a Batik air flight, causing the plane to deviate from its intended route. The flight was carrying 153 passengers and 4 crew. This was back in January. It went from Kendari to Jakarta, when the pilots, identified only as 32-year-old Indonesian in command and a 28-year-old Indonesian as the second in command, dozed off simultaneously for 28 minutes.
Boy, I'll tell you what, the Indonesia, Malaysia area,
they play fast and loose, don't they?
Yeah, I don't like that. That's no. That's not good.
According to the report, the mishap happened about 30 minutes after departure when the aircraft reached its cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. The pilot in command requested rest, which was granted by the deputy. Subsequently, the first pilot fell asleep and woke up nearly an hour later. Following this, the first pilot offered the opportunity to rest to the second in command, who said no. However, the report stated that the second pilot unintentionally fell asleep while still in control of the aircraft, leading to a period of unresponsiveness to communication attempts from Jakarta's Area Control Center. Upon awakening, the first pilot noticed the aircraft was off course. Corrective measures were taken and the plane safely landed in Jakarta with no reported injuries or damage to the aircraft. The report revealed that the second pilot, who had recently relocated and was caring for newborn twins, was struggling with sleep before the flight. So do you think anybody knew on the plane?
How would you know?
The only way you would know is if you know like the landscape.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait.
Well, again, like you're driving in a van and then you look up and realize you're not going towards the coast.
Hey, that's Multnomah Falls. We must be headed to the coast.
What is happening right now? Boy, I don't know. I mean, how far off coast? Plus, like when you set the autopilot, shouldn't that take you where you want to go?
Well, I don't think they did, because I think what happened was, I think it said in there, it was kind of convoluted how they had it, but I think the first guy said, hey, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Are you good with that? And the second guy said, yes. He goes, the first guy said to the second guy, hey, you can sleep too if you want.
Yeah. I'm always in.
But the second guy said no, but then fell asleep anyway, meaning that maybe they weren't in autopilot.
I'm always under the assumption that everyone's on autopilot.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I thought so too. I don't know.
I just
well,
thought,
not
like,
takeoff and landing.
No. But I thought once you took off, you're not falling asleep during the takeoff. But I thought once you got to a cruising altitude, I thought everyone just set autopilot, and then the pilot's just there in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So why did the second guy not just set autopilot?
Yeah, autopilot when you find yourself getting drowsy, unless it was like you got a mild case of narcolepsy and you just pass out. I would hope too that there's some sort of, like in my car, like if you nod off or you drift, my car beeps at you and then like shakes the wheel.
Yeah. Mine will say keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, is there a
you idiot?
Yeah, there's like a big red. It scares the hell out of you sometimes because you don't like you think you're doing fine and then all of a sudden your car's like ah. Like, we don't have that technology in airplanes?
I don't think so. You seen those airplanes, man? Those things are old, dude.
I thought they were all pretty new. Maybe not in
I don't think so.
Indonesia. Which again goes back to I've enjoyed my time over in the Far East, but boy, that's a little sketch. I don't like that. Like we're going down to the Caribbean in a month or two, and we fly to Miami, and then we have to take one of the little planes, like the junior airlines over. And I'm not gonna lie,
are they American airline planes? Or I mean, like U.S. Airlines?
I don't know. It's operated by like United. Well, I think
so they are.
Yeah, but
so it's like SkyWest and all that crap.
Yeah, but it's an airline I've never heard of, and it
yeah,
makes
but they,
me a little.
Yes, but it's the American standard. Oh wait.
Yeah, it makes me a little.
How about this story?
I'm a little off. Like when we went to Belize, You land in Belize City, and then you can either take a boat or you can take a plane to the islands, which is where you want to be. And I remember we were like, well, let's take let's take the airplane. It's like a 20-minute airplane ride, and it was super cheap. It was like $50. So we did that, and boy, you ever seen Indiana Jones?
Yes.
That's the plane. Like, I had no confidence whatsoever in that airplane when we walked out. I also didn't like when the pilot would turn to my son and was like, do you want to sit up here? Because he didn't have a co-pilot. No offense to Tiny Y. I love you, buddy. I don't want to be in an airplane if something goes wrong, you're in charge. I was like, can we not do that? Can you not put my 14-year-old as the co-pilot? I like that.
He needed some help.
It was a very uneasy flight the entire time.
Yeah. If you've ever... The most perilous travel that I've had to endure was in Peru. And you're really just at the mercy of the system there.
Yes.
Like, those, like Machu Picchu, for example, those buses, they'll bus you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going up these switchbacks that, dude...
You think if you take one wrong turn,
oh my God,
over you go.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And then a couple of flights we took, one was to this city called Iquitos, which you can't even get to by anything other than boat and airplane. And it's just... And there was a storm, and it's just like, it's a different... You're just at their mercy. Like, you just hope.
And somehow you trust it.
You just hope.
You're on vacation, so you're like,
well, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You have to trust it.
You do have a choice. Don't go there.
Yeah. But once you're there, you have to travel.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when we came back to the mainland, guess what we didn't take? That airplane. I got on the boat. I was like, because the boat took a while, because it made a couple stops. Well, guess what? We were on the boat. I wasn't getting back on that airplane. I've seen what happens in Indiana Jones. I'm like, yeah, me and Short Round aren't jumping out of that thing. No, we're taking the boat.
All right, a former Boeing employee. This is convenient.
This is scary.
Yeah, whistleblower.
Yeah, he was a whistleblower.
He got Putined.
He has been found dead.
Yeah. Did he fall out a window? Elevator shaft?
Kind of close.
No, but...
Suspicious? Perhaps?
A lot suspicious. We'll get to that next, okay? Are you ready?
Not really.
No, we're going to get to it. And I see Andrew Nemec in there. That's exciting.
Yeah.
The Andrew Nemec show is coming up.
It's returned.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
It's been on hiatus.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
His haircut hasn't changed.
I can't see it.
Well, he's going with that side shave.
Oh, he's doing the man bun thing.
And then the up top.
Yeah, he's a hipster.
Pull back.
Yeah, man bun thing.
Going on over there. It's hot. All right. Yes, a former Boeing employee has committed suicide. Or did he? Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, tons of NFL free agency news today as the legal tampering period begins. Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons agreeing to a 4-year deal worth $180 million. $100 million of that is guaranteed. Star pass rusher Brian Burns getting traded from the Carolina Panthers to the New York Giants. The Giants going to pay him $150 million to stay around New York. In the NFC East, running back Saquon Barkley leaving the New York Giants but staying in the division. Barkley agrees to a 3-year, $37 million deal with the Eagles. In Cincinnati, receiver T. Higgins asking the Bengals for a trade. The club placed the franchise tag on him last week, locking him in at $21.8 million for this upcoming season. The Seahawks have signed tight end Noah Fant to a 2-year, $21 million deal. Meanwhile, they see tight end Colby Parkinson leave for the Los Angeles Rams. He signs for 3 years, $22 million to go to L.A. And the Blazers welcome the Celtics at Moda Center tonight. Boston sporting the best record in the league at 49-14. Tip off at 7:30. The Celtics now 11.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports
up for you.
Well, this guy.
Oh, there you go. Boeing and Airbus are the world's only major large passenger aircraft manufacturers.
Right. So, I mean, it's mostly all Boeing.
Boeing or Airbus, yeah. And I think Airbus started overseas, but I've flown on some Airbus ones, but I think the majority of the U.S. planes are Boeing.
So let's blame Boeing.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have their S together.
Stupid Seattle.
A former Boeing employee known for raising concerns about the firm's production standards has been found dead in the U.S.
I don't like that.
Whoa.
Oh, that's an inappropriate
Boy.
Yeah.
Wow, Ryan.
Wow, Isaac. No. Don't you pin that on me.
I would just like to state for
Ain't
the
nobody
record,
got time for that.
The only one in here that doesn't have drop controls, me. So
No, I did play that, but that was a misfire. I was supposed to play this.
They're
right next to each other.
There was no inappropriate woo coming from me.
So John Barnett is his name. He had worked for Boeing for 32 years. He retired in 2017. In the days before his death, he had been giving evidence in a whistleblower lawsuit against the company. He said, Boeing said, it was saddened to hear of Mr. Barnett's passing. He was in South Carolina.
We will have no further comment and don't look into us.
The Charleston County coroner confirmed his death. 62-year-old had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Fake news.
On March 9th. Police are investigating. So he worked there for 32 years.
So he was in the middle of whistleblowing while he decided to off himself?
Yep.
Seems suspicious.
From 2010, he worked as a quality manager at the North Charleston plant, making the 787 Dreamliner, a state-of-the-art airliner used mainly on long-haul routes. In 2019, he told the BBC that under-pressure workers had been deliberately fitting substandard parts to aircraft on the production line. He also said he had uncovered serious problems with oxygen systems, which could mean 1 in 4 breathing masks would not work in the event of an emergency.
Hey, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
He said soon after starting work in South Carolina, he had become concerned that the push to get new aircraft built meant the assembly process was rushed and safety was compromised, something the company has long denied. He later told the BBC that workers had failed to follow procedures intended to track components through the factory, allowing defective components to go missing. He said in some cases, substandard parts had been removed from scrap bins and fitted to planes that were being built to prevent delays on the production line. Oh my God.
Boy, I don't like the sound of this at all.
He also claimed that tests on emergency oxygen systems due to be fitted to the 787 showed a failure rate of 25%. He said...
Was he also friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Because this is suspicious much like that.
He said he had alerted managers to his concerns, but no action had been taken. Boeing has denied his assertions. However, a review in 2017 by U.S. regulators, namely the FAA, upheld some of his concerns.
And now he's dead while giving testimony in his car of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. You know what, honestly, and like, I'm being dead serious here. It terrifies me how easy it would be for a big company or anyone with a little money to just off you and make it look like a suicide.
100%. I mean, have you watched, what's that show trending on Netflix right now about the government?
The Octopus Murders?
Yeah, the Octopus Murders. Have you watched that one yet?
I've started it, but I haven't gotten very far.
It does not go on my official recommendation list, even though it is very good. It's a little convoluted, but if you want, like, if you're watching that right now and you're hearing this story, you're going, oh my God.
Yeah, he's dead.
He is dead.
I mean, he's murdered.
Boeing did this.
I've watched enough of those Dateline episodes, and it's terrifying how often the initial investigation is just like, man, it's a suicide. And then someone's family is like, no, it wasn't. And then they look into it, and it takes like all of 8 seconds to be like, well, that's clearly not suicide. And how many times someone shows up and is like, I don't know, dude's dead, he's by himself, there's a gun. Suicide.
So you should also know that after he retired, and he was likely forced out, but after he retired, there was a long-running legal battle with Boeing where they were defaming him. He was, making all his claims, and they were really going after him. That's an important part of the story. Yeah. This isn't just new that he was in a lawsuit with them. It's been a long-going thing. And they said at the time of his death, he was in Charleston for legal interviews linked to that case. Last week, he gave a formal deposition in which he was questioned by Boeing's lawyers before being cross-examined by his own counsel. He had been due to undergo further questioning on Saturday. When he did not appear, inquiries were made at his hotel, and he was subsequently found dead in his truck in the hotel car park.
I'm not here to... I have no idea what his state of mind is. I just always find these things weird when someone's doing normal day-to-day stuff, and then it's just like, that's it. Like, I'm in the middle of this. I'm giving testimony. Nope, it's over. And you just end it?
Well, there probably is a lot of pressure on him,
Sure.
But at the same time...
Seems very suspicious.
I don't buy I don't buy it.
Boy, that is...
Is that a leap of a conspiracy theory?
I don't know if it's a leap. And like I said, I don't know what happened, but I find... Like, how about this?
I mean, Boeing. It just happens to be when Boeing's in the news every other day for failures.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if this took place in Russia, what would we be all saying right now?
Putin killed him.
Yeah, we're like, oh. But it's here, and we're like, oh,
So is it Sleepy Joe? Dementia Joe?
Dark Brandon? I don't think,
Dark
Brandon. Or is it just like, I don't know.
Is it Boeing? Just they've got a couple people on the side?
Well, and maybe that's just it. I mean, how many billions of dollars would they stand to lose if this whistleblower comes out with something that says they have a culture of putting hundreds of thousands of lives at risk every day?
All I know is, their market cap is $117 billion.
Yeah.
You're telling me they can't get rid of...
It's worth their while to have people that do that. It just is.
God,
and whether they do it or not, it's worth their while to have that.
I'm going to shut up now.
I know. I would like to say, for the record... I find Seattle to be a wonderful city. I find the Boeing company to be very much on the up and up. I love flying Boeing airplanes, and every time I get in one, I sleep the sleep of angels knowing that they produced my plane. And under no circumstances do I think that they've done anything even remotely shady involving murdering whistleblowers, so I'll just shut up now. Jeez. That makes me very... It just makes me uneasy. You just think about how easy it would be. And we see it all the time in shows, and we see it in movies, and we're like, that doesn't happen in real life. Does it?
No, it does.
Not with Boeing. No.
This is why when things happen in Russia like that, or wherever, we always look at that and go, oh, well, that's why America's great, is we don't do... Dude, we do crap like this all the time. And here's another example, even though I can't prove it.
You can't prove it. And I would like to state for the record again, that's Isaac Rupp who believes that. Me, on the other hand, Jason Sukanik.
Well, in the Octopus,
Washington, nope.
In the Octopus murders, the guy tells his buddy, he's like, dude, if something happens to me, it is not an accident. Literally a week later, he's dead by, quote, suicide.
Right?
And the guy's like, well, or I guess it was his brother.
Yeah.
Said, oh, well, he told me if something happened to him, it wasn't an accident.
And yet nothing ever, honestly...
And then law enforcement goes, probably a suicide. And you're like,
no. The most suspicious one of all time is still the Jeffrey Epstein one. And we all, no one believes that guy hung himself. No one. And yet, here we are. However, was that 2 years ago? And what? Nothing. He's dead. We're like, they killed him. And yet, collectively, we're like, meh.
Well, this is why we need free market media. Surely there's somebody poking around, right?
Well, they are, but they probably got shoved down an elevator shaft too. But that's the thing is, we all believe it. Every one of us believes that they killed Jeffrey Epstein. Some form of government agency offed him. And yet, if you're someone that did off Jeffrey Epstein, do you just laugh in that everyone knows you did it, and yet you're like, whatever, got away with it. Nuts to you.
Or do you think the guy killed himself to make Boeing look like they did it?
That's if you're depressed and you're gonna end it, that's the best way ever. Is if you just framed you wrote in blood. You're like, Boeing did this. But when you're getting ready to shoot yourself, you leave a little note.
Well, we were talking just last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about conspiracy theories and people who believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, and ones that ones that are not that big of a leap.
Yeah.
This is not that big of a leap.
No, it is not.
And I don't even know if it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's just a theory.
I do like to say this all the time because it pisses her off, but just know that if I die, you know where to look.
I do. Look, I've met her.
Yeah.
I know.
And look, I'd probably...
Now, if I die...
Yeah.
You point the finger at my wife?
No.
No chance.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, there's no chance. Now, I hate to say this. She's probably not listening, so I'll just go... I'm with you.
Just say
I'm watching her.
Someone investigate, right?
That's right.
And look, she's going to say when she gets caught that I deserved it. And look, that's probably fair. doesn't give you the right to do it. Just saying,
That's
for the
right.
record.
That's right. I'm glad that's out there on the record.
Yeah, I just want it out there.
It's tape.
Know that I'm not dying under like weird circumstances. Point the finger.
What if it's Ray Donovan that Boeing has on retainer?
Be amazing. That's a great show.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah. Well,
I
the first
Ray
like
Donovan.
6 seasons. Then it kind of went downhill. But yeah.
All right.
There's got to be Ray
oh.
Donovans out there, right? There has to be.
Of course.
Yes, definitely.
Of course.
And what if it's someone you don't even think about? What if it's like Joe Fisher? Who's just living a mild manner existence, and then he's just offing like corporate execs. He lives a double life.
If there were a Ray Donovan on our staff,
Yeah.
who do you think it would be most likely?
That's a good question.
It's probably you.
Who could?
So you're saying just 1080 the fan staff?
I stick out
Well, just
way-
the fan, just what people know.
I stick
Yeah.
out way too much. You need someone that's just like incognito.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's always ex-military. So Danny,
Ooh, that's good.
It's good.
That's good.
I'm going with the nicest person on the staff.
Thank you. Oh,
I think it's the fan man. He seems a little too clean
I
cut.
thought you were gonna say Rust.
You know, he runs
ooh,
out.
Rust.
He runs out of here a lot.
Dude, Jeff Rust is nicer than Dusty.
Yeah, but Rust is too nice. There's no edge there. Rusty couldn't do it, but you know, Dusty runs out of the studio a lot, and you know, he's always in a rush to do things. You know, a lot of times, like he has to bring kids in because there's other things going on. He's very clean cut, all America.
Might I offer up a man who is friendly,
Yeah.
but also,
A little suspicious.
yeah, he just kind of does his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
John Ludwig.
Interesting. Johnny Ludes, huh?
Johnny Ludes. Coog Ludes.
I'm gonna offer up one more. And this man, I think we may have a winner here. Jeff Austin.
Ah,
Yeah.
our boss.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we already have an alias situation going on.
Exactly.
So
We've got an alias
That's true.
situation.
That's not his real name.
He's never around. He does travel a bunch. We never know where he's going. He pops in and out. He does kind of
he's got
have
ties to pretty much everywhere in the country.
Exactly. He can be anywhere in the country, and there's a reason to be there. And he's kind of buttoned up and polished. You know, he could probably get a lot of places. He seems unassuming.
Very even keel.
Blends into the background. Yeah. Look, I think it's fair to assume at this point that Jeff has killed executives.
I think that's right.
Just saying. I think it's a fair assumption.
Call the cops.
Yeah. Someone needs to look into him.
All right.
You know what? Jeff Austin is even his real name.
No,
it's an alias.
Like I said,
it's a radio name.
Yep, that's the
He's
first.
Boeing's hitman, and we didn't know this whole time.
Son of a bitch. It's been under our nose this entire time.
As Potter said, you know, the Boeing is in bed with the military and industrial complex. You know, that like this is not far-fetched at all.
No,
As a matter of fact,
not at all.
I would put the odds at 60-40 that Boeing killed him.
Like to
It's
point
not
out-
even 50-50.
like to point out once again, that's the opinion of Ice Crop. I love Boeing and all of their employees.
When am I jumping on a flight again?
Be very, very. Better be taking that Airbus, my friend.
Those of you flying to Atlanta for the Masters, you might want to take a different flight than me.
Someone sees you coming and is like, nope. I'm going to take the next one, boys.
All right, 6:50. We'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
The home of dirt.